This game, it changed my life. I'm not sure how to start a video like this, so I'll be brief. Z.A.T.O, I Love the World and Everything in It, is a mystery visual novel about a girl with a unique outlook on the nature of the universe, who's trying to uncover the disappearance of a classmate she holds dear. It features a beautifully colored world, compelling characterization, well-written dialogue, and lots of introspection from a lonely girl in an uncaring world. It also made me cry, several times. It's a rare occurrence. It's only $0 on Steam, and it took me about 5 to 6 hours to complete. If you have a free evening, then there's really no harm in giving it a shot. You won't regret it. Now, this video was made in order to let people know about the existence of this game. Don't worry, I'm not sponsored or anything. It's just the story that Ferry, the developer of this novel, had crafted, put me in a trance-like state. I've replayed the game several times in order to uncover every single secret, reference, and obscured plot detail that I could find. I read several scientific papers, books, and internet theories that are either relevant to this game or are at least tangentially related to it. Thus, the rest of this video will be a sort of read-through, analysis, video essay type thing. If you still haven't closed the video to go play Z.A.T.O or watch a playthrough of it, then this is your last warning. I'll be covering the game in episodes and giving remarks whenever they're appropriate. At the end of each episode, I'll do a short ramble about it, and then we'll move on. I'll also try to make this whole thing entertaining, so... full spoilers ahead. We begin with the game introducing us to the inner thoughts of the main character against a backdrop of falling snow and old pictures showing us life in the USSR, 1986. We are shown a starry sky, an alley blinded by streetlights, a street with simple apartment housing, a school, and the snow trail behind it. It's all very mundane, apart from the blue icy filter on the photos. The monologue is telling us how the universe is the way that it is, not because of a series of unlikely coincidences, but because it was carefully fine-tuned to allow life to prosper. By whom, you may ask? By God? No, but the universe itself, of course. You know how humans are social creatures and thus have a social need to be observed and noticed? What if the universe is the same way? Until the creation of humans, it could only observe itself. It was the best and only thing it could do. But now it's got someone else. It now has people that can share its joy of observing. So it painstakingly changed, molded itself to suit our needs. An endless universe adjusting for some worthless insects like us to spread the best thing it has ever known. It's very, very cute. This world is truly wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. After this pretty abrupt end to our musings, we return to reality, to Soviet classroom. Prior to this, we were in the headspace of a 14-year-old girl named Asya Shubina. Quick disclaimer, while I am fluent in the Russian language, I may sometimes mispronounce certain names. It's somewhat difficult for me to keep my proper English speech while having to say words from another language, so I apologize if I make mistakes here and there. The teacher announces to the class that one of their classmates is missing, her name being Ira Grachevskaya. The students almost immediately start whispering to each other about their immediate conclusions. She must be skipping as usual. She must have run off with a guy. The teacher silences the class and tells everyone that a missing person report has been filed yesterday night by her parents. Any information about her whereabouts should be reported to the police or the teacher's office. The teacher then attempts to resume the lesson, but to my utter dismay, a certain guy stops her from doing so. This is Vadim Gaiden, and he's going to be a constant thorn in everyone's side, really. Just look at that shit-eating grin. He starts to sarcastically pretend that these news had broken his and his classmates' hearts, so they can't really continue studying at this rate. His posse of nameless students agrees with his every word. The teacher, being a functional adult, sees through the bullshit melodrama and tells them to quit it and sit down. With a dry, perhaps even uncaring tone, she reassures everyone that Ira is gonna come back soon enough. It's December 19th. A bird flies past the window. It's the end of the lesson. Students pour out of the classrooms and after a short while start discussing the news. Vadim Gaiden, whose name and surname I'm going to use interchangeably, is somewhat annoyed at the news, while cracking tasteless jokes with his buddies. They say that Ira is known for skipping classes and being a bit of an outcast. Yeah, never say never, crazy is genetic. Vadim even jokes how she may be hanging out at a crack house. Not like there is one, cause if there was, him and his buddies would be regulars there. Mind you, these are 14-year-olds we're talking about. One of the classmates mentions to Vadim that Ira was seen with an older man, around 30 years old. Their opinion? Pretty self-evident. Our protagonist, Asya, while heading to the next class, overhears their conversation. It irritates her, but not in a way one might think. She's mainly worried not about Ira, but about herself. A pretty repulsive thought in her eyes, but she still recognizes that this is a missing person we're talking about. So there must be something to it, despite Ira having a reputation of disappearing on the regular. Still, it's kind of weird for Asya to be worried about her like that. They weren't exactly friends. She then thinks about the older man and how it's not exactly a rarity for some girls to be swooned by adult men much older than them. But Ira, she didn't take her for much of a romantic. Yeah, they definitely planned to elope all along. A pretty big leap in logic, girl, considering this was all hearsay from people that bully you on the regular, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Asya is somewhat torn on this. On one hand, she finds it really cute how Ira is defiantly following her love, not caring about society's ridicule, but on the other, that would mean Ira is not coming back, and at that point, what is there to hope for anymore? While on one of the breaks, Vadim approaches Asya and asks whether she knows anything about the disappearance. She says no, and that they weren't really close anyway. Vadim, however, manifests into existence this gem of a line. His background hyenas find this hysterical. Oh yeah, Vadim, please insult the bisexuals in the room as well, I'm sure that will make you very, very likable. The verbal abuse is, of course, being poorly disguised as jokes. This happens pretty often over the course of the game, and really, it's been happening over the course of Asya's entire life. She may say she's used to it, but in her mind, she's imagining scenarios where Ira would come into the room and pretty much beat up anyone who was acting like an asshole. Ira might even be running late, coming straight from her lover's place. No, she's already inside the building, taking off her jacket and coming up the stairs through the school's corridors. Her footsteps are even audible. It's definitely her. Vadim notices her enthusiasm and pretty much involuntarily crushes Asya's delusions. Those footsteps were never Ira's. Vadim and his buddies then insult her some more with the same jokes and pretty much call her ugly. Asya is very worn down from this, acknowledging that these fantasies of hers never help. It's even a good thing that Ira didn't come, because that would just make her more pissed. It's a good thing. A great thing, really. Asya thinks about Ira some more. Sure, her attendance record is already bad, so it wouldn't be surprising that she skipped classes. So, yesterday she went straight to her lover? But in that case, what she heard yesterday evening. This should probably be reported, but she's having second doubts. She may be tearing star-crossed lovers apart, telling on them like that. And Ira's also probably okay, right? It's kind of hard to disregard the age gap, but judging love like that is ugly after all. And it's not like her testimony is gonna help with anything. It points to neither the culprit nor the possible location. So let's keep silent and everyone will be happy. Alright, time to head home, I guess. Ah, the voice of reason, just in time. Well, if you weigh all the pros and cons, then on the off chance that Ira really is missing, providing info to the authorities and potentially saving Ira is well worth it. Saving Ira, thinks Asya to herself. Yeah, that sounds nice. Visiting her in the hospital, receiving words of deep gratitude. Wait, why is she in the hospital again? No, all she needs is news of how Ira is living her life happily ever after. So, with a newfound resolve, Asya Shubina heads to the teacher's office and, there's a girl standing right by the entrance. Is there a queue? Asya asks. A queue? Oh no, I'm just waiting for someone. The girl then recognizes Asya, while Asya does not recognize the girl. Apparently everyone is supposed to know each other here, since this is a small school, but Asya hardly knows most of the people by name. That's a relatable introvert moment if I've ever seen one. I feel you, Asychka. She would have probably known about this girl through friends or something, but after a certain Tasya's departure, she was left with no friends. The girl introduces herself as Marina, full name Marina Kaplan. She's heard the announcement about Ira's disappearance and decided to tell what she knows to the teachers. Now, however, she's unwilling to share anything with Asya. The walls got ears, you see. Asya, as usual, condemns herself due to her lack of vigilance and social skills and decides to just head to the office. but Marina stops her. Apparently she was waiting here for Asya specifically, in order to catch her before she reported anything. Poor girl is already thinking that she's gonna get bullied again. Fortunately, Marina seems to be a very chipper and friendly person, so nothing bad really happens. In fact, she knows something about Asya because Ira told her. Does this mean she's Ira's friend? In any case, Asya still wants to tell about what she saw yesterday to the teachers. But Marina, fearing that they may be overheard here, panics and grabs Asya's hand, hurriedly dragging her across the corridors. Bro, Asya's been fighting court battles in her mind to finally get the result she needs to testify, and now she's denied even that? Come on, man. But ultimately, she's glad that the choice was made for her in the end. Whether it was because of her heart wishing for this to happen, or because the universe willed it so, this must be the right path. Yes, the universe definitely had something to do with this, bending itself to the wishes of a worthless gnat. Wouldn't be the first time, right? The whole wide world wants her to know what happened to Ira Grachevskaya. So yeah, that was the prologue. There's not much to discuss here, honestly. We've seen almost every member of the main cast, learn about the incident that kickstarts the story, and got to experience the life of an average 14-year-old in a Soviet school. So far, the game establishes two crucial pieces of its ambience. One, the world. It is shown through grainy real-life photos put through a color filter. It's nothing special really, something that I can whip up in Photoshop in a couple of minutes. But in a way, it makes me feel nostalgic. Probably because I've studied at a kinda similar school, but also I think it induces a longing for a past that you've never been to. I doubt that there exists a lot of players of this game who got to experience what it was like to study in 1986, but still it feels so familiar and cozy, like a Polaroid photo that had deteriorated slightly, but is still in your album after many decades. Or maybe a memory that you can't quite recall in its entirety, but it still has those feelings that are tied to the moment. It's only how I feel about this, but these remarks can also be indicative of the upcoming story events and themes. Another, and possibly the most important piece, is the constant inner monologue of Asya. It's arguably the best written component of the entire novel. The way she grapples with reality and her fantasies, how she views the world through the lens of cosmic balance and finds beauty in it, and how she doesn't hesitate to self-flagelize and deprecate herself in comparison. It's still too early for me to dive into characters. This part is more a comment on the vibe of the game, but I'm just gonna say that our girl Asya is not exactly okay in the head, even if she describes some things in a cute way sometimes. And that's understandable, considering the environment she finds herself in. Speaking of the environment, I suppose there are some changes to that now. We are sent back several weeks before the disappearance incident. The namesake of episode 1, Ira Grachevskaya, is fed up with Vadim picking on a helpless Asya and decides to throw a chair at him, which was pretty effective. It missed, but the stress damage is gonna stay with the guy for a while. Ira then rips the notepad from his hands and slams it on our desk. Read it again and I'll kick your teeth in. Oh yes, please do! A teacher comes into the room, but Ira pushes past them and heads outside the classroom, despite the teacher's shouts and threats. It's apparently not an uncommon occurrence for Ira to be defined like that, only without the chair throwing. But this incident is much more important than you might think. But for that, we've gotta go through a bit of an exposition dump. You see, the reason why the game is called Z.A.T.O, it's because it's an anagram for Закрытое административно-территориальное образование, or Closed Administrative Territorial Formation. It's a closed city, one where you're not allowed to leave or enter, and the game takes place in one, Vorkuta 5. Such cities were created to safeguard special facilities for designing and manufacturing weapons of mass destruction, recycling and repurposing of radioactive materials, and for other purposes that would help with concealing military and state secrets. Vorkuta 5 houses a research center which, according to some later dialogue, is focused on researching Vorkuta's natural resources. At least that's the official story. In any case, since this is a closed city, its population is not exactly large, around 6,000 people. Residents here behave as if it was a large gated community or a developed village. Rumors spread fast, and everyone knows what everyone did. That's why the crime rate is virtually non-existent, and the standard of living here is noticeably higher than average, considering the widespread shortage of goods in the USSR during the 80s and 90s. All in all, there's seemingly no reason for people here to act up and cause trouble. That's why Ira's case is so difficult. She's pretty much known as the problem child, and while an adult can be punished in a variety of ways for tarnishing the reputation of a city, a kid is another story. In this case, the responsibility falls on her parents. What's so wrong with them that Grachevskaya started to behave this way? Do they not teach her discipline? Do they not understand that they've been granted so much and yet they can't do the bare minimum of raising their own child? Do they want to be here? Do we want them to be here? Ira's reputation has only worsened after the chair incident. Asya doesn't understand why. They were only playing, having fun, and it was her own fault for bringing the notebook anyway. Those poems and drawings inside, the guys were understandably interested in taking a look. Those scribblings are just a little fun distractions. She shouldn't be offended, really. No big deal. But she wants to thank Ira anyway. Even though Asya couldn't find an opportunity to talk with Ira for a long time, with Asya being a scaredy cat and all, she accidentally bumps into her in the bathroom. She's casually smoking, sitting near a window. Asya barely manages to say hi and scurries to a stall. After a period of self-conscious nervousness, she hears that Ira is about to walk away and suddenly bursts out of the stall. Anime. Even after that, she still can't say a word, but after some awkward happenings, she asks whether Ira was cold while smoking near a window. Weird, but Ira answers honestly. Asya then apologizes for getting Ira into trouble because Vadim read her stupid poetry. Ira says she did this because Vadim was annoying her, so there's no need to apologize. Asya's gratitude, as usual, turned into something pitiful. But holy shit, she likes my scribbles. I'm in love. Weeks later, nothing really changed. Same school, same lessons, same books, same walks, same home, same assholes. Yeah, the game really likes to hammer at home how much bullying Asya endures and how much she's hoping that Ira comes in and puts a stop to it. But these thoughts occur not only during classes, but every time she's outside or going somewhere. She even started taking new routes, hoping to bump into Ira and maybe talk with her. They may even sometimes pass each other in school, but Ira doesn't really pay attention to her, despite Asya's attempts in calling her. Asya asks Vadim to return her 50 kopecks. He refuses, saying he doesn't remember lending her money. We can see that Asya is not exactly afraid of Vadim, more like she chooses to cope with his behavior by justifying it somehow. Maybe he really did forget. Still, she involuntarily glances at the doorway, secretly expecting a certain someone to arrive while berating herself for thinking this way. The girls in the class ask Asya whether she wears makeup. They don't usually talk to her, but they seem nice. A cool detail is that if you look closely at Asya's face, you can see some small dark dots on her. Those are most likely meant to be imperfections in her skin caused by puberty, something that every other character lacks. Anyway, the girls invite Asya so that they can apply makeup on her. This doesn't go well. Asya, of course, inhales some military-grade copium and then runs out of the class straight to the bathroom. Before that, though, she bumps into Ira. Okay, how is this getting worse? Ira is startled, but is more confused and disgusted. Asya, though, continues her dash to the nearest sink. There's no real reason for why she expected Ira to care for her. A bunch of coincidences like her throwing that chair or saying Asya's poems aren't stupid. Those things weren't serious, right? Vadim returns the 50 kopecks while basically calling Asya a whore. How classy. Yeah, I guess she got her hopes up, thinking that she deserved something better while already having it so good. Probably another one of her delusions. But she's wiser now. That's a part of growing up. And those moments with Ira, they're enough. She can look back at them fondly and warm her heart that way, knowing those little occurrences happened. Everyone has those, right? Life is a series of good and bad episodes. It's something she should learn to be content with. It's something she used to be content with. Until she decided it wasn't enough. But really, she's got nothing to complain about. She lives in the prettiest part of the country, she's got caring parents, books and TV shows to enjoy, she buys herself treats every day, she's got good grades, she's got classmates she can always talk to. It's her fault she can't get along with them that well. All of this. She has all of this. Right here, right now. Everything that a girl her age could ever ask for. So why did she act as if that weren't enough? Why the hell did I even... And so she came. Ira is extremely pissed not only because of the situation, but because the girl in front of her is so gullible. Asya had received a love confession letter that told her to wait at the back entrance of the school. It was from Vadim. He never showed up. Asya had to wait for so long that her legs got tired and she had to sit on cold, snowy concrete and wait some more. Maybe he'd come, but he wouldn't. Asya knew that already, even if she didn't believe it. Ira helps her up, and, filled with annoyance and frustration, asks why Asya still came here. Her answer is not very convincing. Ira then suggests that they should burn the letter, but Asya keeps it with her. A fake confession is still a confession. Those words didn't choose to be written insincerely. Whatever, it doesn't matter anymore. After weeks of prayer, Ira finally came. Asya then speaks her first genuine words of gratitude. Ira is understandably flustered at this. That's cute. Ira then says her goodbyes and turns around the corner, disappearing. Asya really wanted to talk to her some more, but maybe there's still a chance. Hesitating, she then runs after her, only to turn the corner and see no one. She is already gone. Asya's life didn't really change. Same days, same lessons, but she's still taking new routes, praying that she bumps into Ira one more time. Again and again, walking and walking, praying and praying. No one really noticed Ira coming in. Everyone's playing truth or dare, and it's Asya's turn to do a dare. Terrible timing. Ira doesn't pay her any mind and walks to her desk, right for the crowd of boys. Only Vadim stands his ground. I assume for no good reason but to be an annoyance. Ira gets tired of his shenanigans and almost shanks the guy with a bow compass. I love the sprite, but then she finally gets to her seat, unbothered by jeers from the peanut gallery. Two times Asya's been saved by Ira, who didn't even give her a glance. This can't be a coincidence. A second voice tells Asya that it is. It's been only 2 times and weeks apart. Maybe you're right, but... It's been 2 weeks and Asya's still replaying that moment in her mind, over and over and over again. She's got all the justification she could ask for. She was content. It's still not good enough. Asya starts deliberately searching for Ira. It's weird how hard she is to find in this small town. Maybe she enjoys the outskirts more? That does sound like her. Asya knows that she'll be bothering her, even imagines a scenario where she might be attacked. How exciting! She finally finds Ira behind the research institute in the smoking area. Ira's weirded out by how Asya managed to find her, but it's explained by her taking a stroll. Ira doesn't buy it, instead she offers a smoke, since it is a smoking area. Asya obviously refuses, but Ira suggests she try it. Reminds me of how my middle school friends tried to get me to smoke. Good times. Not the smoking, I never tried back then. Asya asks why Ira is near the institute specifically. Apparently, her mother works there, and Ira sometimes brings her lunches. That's so sweet of her. Sometimes I wish there were smiley faces in the text. I don't know why, it just fits. I guess the small portraits of Asya can kind of count as emojis, but Asya is pretty impressed by how proactive Ira is when it comes to helping her parents, considering the flack they might be catching from her behavior. Asya then compares this with the relationship she has with her parents, and how she wouldn't even think about doing something like that. Ira's just cut from different cloth. While Asya is looking for excuses to delay her coming home, Ira's working to make up to her parents and ease off some of the workload. That's why she's never in a cafe or in a community center or on the streets. Why she's so caring. Why Asya is such a piece of trash. No. Her mom only forgets lunch sometimes. Lunches are prepared in advance. The institute is not very far, even if you live on the edge of town. She'll have plenty of time. Yeah, that doesn't work. This explanation doesn't work. Asya knows that it's not her business, wondering what Ira's deal actually is. They're not that close to be sharing secrets, though admittedly that would be nice. Your friend's not here today. She's not really my friend. You're Pitbull then. Oh my god, bruh. Well, it's nice to hear that they view them both as friends. At least something good came out of that little shitter's mouth. Wait, they're saying that Ira might be sent away because of her awful attendance record. That's not good. The town might be getting rid of a nuisance, but Asya will be losing the only person in the world who stood up for her. She doesn't want her to leave. Not only because Ira is so nice, but because, well, she looks outside the window, far past the fences and the mountains, past the edge of the world. The world, it's way too gentle. It's been too kind to an ungrateful brat like her. So, if she earned the world's good graces, why can't a person so much more deserving do the same? What does a person like that have to do? And is there anything that she can do? A bird flies past the window. I'm not sure if it's due to some divine intervention or extraordinary luck, but Asya finds Ira smoking in the bathroom again. She asks whether she truly doesn't care, and if she really will be sent away to live with a relative. Ira doesn't deny the possibility. But maybe it will work out. Maybe if she cleaned up her act, started studying, Asya can help with that. They can go to the library, and there's not enough time. Asya knows this. She just wanted to selfishly spend the rest of that time with Ira. She wonders if she did the same thing when Tasya moved away. Again, that Tasya. They must have been a very important friend. It's only been 3 years since her departure. The memories, it's also hazy. Ira thanks Asya for her concern. Asya doesn't think that she deserves any thanks. She's actually been looking for her school diary that one of the boys hid somewhere. A school diary in the Soviet education system was something like a student's personal report card that they would carry around and hand in to the teacher when they needed to mark or any useful information to be recorded, like homework or school events. It's kinda like a baby's first document. If they lose it, then they could get in serious trouble. Of course, Asya tries to downplay the blatant bullying, but Ira knows better. She heads straight for the boys' restroom and finds Asya's diary near a tiny window above a stall. Ira reaches it, but breaks one of the toilets in the process. They quickly flee the scene. After the girls escape the consequences of their criminal activity, Ira gets frustrated by this pushover and says, "You can't keep doing this. It won't get any better if you keep doing this." But it's not like Asya never told them to stop, they just don't listen to her. And doing anything beyond this, it's just not possible for her. And at least they talk to her. She just doesn't want to be alone. Ira reminds her that she's gonna be gone soon. Asya's terrified at the thought. Now nobody will come to save her. She wonders why she's the one getting help while Ira's situation is much worse than hers. She should be the one helping, but she can't think of anything that she can do. Unexpectedly though, Ira requests a poem from Asya. I guess she liked that previous one. After some cute and flustered interactions, Asya agrees, and they go their separate ways. Same days, same lessons, same thoughts about Ira. They coincidentally meet near a community center, also known as a palace of culture in Soviet terms. Ira came here to return some books, but isn't yet willing to share their titles. Unlike her, however, Asya mentions she's read The Plague by Albert Camus. It's about a town suffering from a plague and its populace being trapped, grappling with the idea of inevitable death and how to cope with it. This novel shares a lot with Z.A.T.O in both themes and plot, and I'm going to mention all of that much later in the video, so keep it in mind. Also, if you didn't know, Camus is the author of The Stranger. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Asya's main understanding of the novel's message was that evil is an inherent part of the world, which she's not sold on. Ira is more accepting of the idea though. This brings about a philosophical discussion on the nature of evil. While Ira's sure that evil is everywhere, Asya believes that people can't be inherently evil and brings up Dionysius and his thoughts on how evil cannot be among the being, because if it was a being, then it would have to participate in the good and thus not be totally evil. It's all a part of a theological philosophical doctrine named privatio boni, or the privation theory of evil. Asya basically wants to justify that there's good in everyone and people don't do things purely because they want to be evil. There are other reasons behind it, they're just not pure evil. Ira just brings up Hitler. Understandable reaction ensues. This leads Asya to try and explain to Ira her views on the universe as a whole. It goes pretty poorly. Like, Imagine a shy and nervous 14-year-old trying to combine agent of cosmopsychism and a Greek doctrine on the existence of evil and explain it to another girl who just wants to read romance novels. And here I am, reading and recording this at 3 am. I'm pretty understanding of Ira right now, not gonna lie. She says that it must be nice to think that everyone's inherently good. She'd be angry as hell if she were in her shoes. Like 100 times angrier now. Asya then imagines how Ira throws 100 chairs at 100 Vadims. Like a bodhisattva? Yeah, Ira, she is weird. But this comparison is somewhat relevant, as the idea of the aforementioned cosmopsychism takes root in Buddhist schools of thought. And, well, the concept of a bodhisattva is also inherently Buddhist. I will theorize about the meaning of these references much later in the video though. What's important is that Asya is having a grand old time chatting with Ira. It is very cute. After a while, Ira has to go, but before that, she tells Asya that she was reading Angelique by Anne Golan, but not without feeling very embarrassed. Yep, that proves it. You're not beating the tsundere allegations anymore. I'm pretty sure the novel series itself doesn't have much thematic significance here, but I may be wrong, who knows. Regardless, the girls part ways, but Asya is already hungry for more. Maybe they'll meet again, get to know each other more, go to the movies. It will be so wonderful. She needs to see her again. Ira skips even more classes than usual. She must have given up on keeping up appearances. Well, they wouldn't talk with each other even if she appeared, but seeing at least the back of her head would be nice. Hey, look, even Vadim mentions how cheerful Asya has become. Oh goddammit, it doesn't faze Asya though. She's now determined to meet Ira again, even if she has to walk through the entire town twice, no, thrice over. The universe is sure to smile upon her again and reward her efforts. She can't afford to waste time. There's not much of it left already. Asya, full of joy and wonder, finds Ira between the rows of garages, which are a common sight in post-Soviet countries even to this day. Ira is crouched near a wooden wall, hugging a thermos with one hand and holding a cigarette with another. She looks extremely exhausted. Asya wants to ask what's wrong, but Ira's muttering something. You spying on me now? No, I was just walking here. At the garage lot. Her icy glare seemingly summoned the cold that would send shivers down the spine. It was of such contempt. No, we can save this. This is salvageable. Just have to explain herself, that's it. She always takes these walks around school. She likes visiting places on the outskirts or some other weird places. Her eyes now show not disdain, but confusion. Asya continues to ramble, stumbling for her words, desperately attempting to piece something together that would satisfy Ira. They were talking so nicely back then, so what happened? Asya finally finishes, but Ira seems tired from just looking at her. She walks away, leaving behind a hint of annoyance. Only the cold wind howls, silencing Asya's parting words. The mounds of snow on garage roofs look smooth and soft. When blizzards hit, they'll get completely buried. She'd like a snow hill to form over her. They look cozy. She wonders what Ira carries in her thermos. I guess tea is the obvious answer, but what if she's one of those people that like to carry some warm soup with them? That would be cute. Classmates are starting to discuss their plans for New Year's. In USSR, Christmas wasn't the main winter holiday, so instead people celebrated the coming of a new year. This is probably because religion was heavily suppressed by the atheist state, and because New Year's was made a national holiday by said state. Asya, though, is not really in a festive mood. She's still thinking about Ira, thinking how she can make it up to her. Apologies aren't gonna cut it. A gift would also be kinda weird, and she doesn't have that kind of money anyway. A treat? A waffle, perhaps? She's not a freaking dog. She gotta focus on how to go about this. Okay. Inhale. Exhale. She now sees everything a bit better. The buildings, the snow, the sky. Everything is friendly. Everything is beautiful. It's getting colder. Asya still goes on her walks around town, but doesn't expect to meet anyone. She wanted to go to the library, but it's already closed. Streets are now lined with New Year's decorations. There's even a pine tree near the community center, though it's bare for now. Asya wonders why she's meandering around like that, but every reason she comes up with is embarrassing. I assume that she not only somewhat hopes to somehow stumble into Ira, but also she doesn't really want to come home. Asya goes inside an apartment building. While coming up the staircase, she realizes what she can do for Ira. The girl comes to her apartment's door and enters it, relieved that there are no guests this time. She hangs her coat and briefly greets her father, washes her hands and exits the bathroom. Out with friends again? Hi. She comes into the kitchen and starts boiling some tea. Some time passes in familiar but ever so slightly uncomfortable silence. Asya fills her teapot and brings it to her room. After locking herself in her room, the girl is swarmed with nasty thoughts. Most are about how she doesn't spend time with her mother, but she understands that thinking like that isn't gonna help anyone. And yet, she does it every time she comes home. The plan right now is to write a poem for Ira, and it's a very exciting prospect for our little poet, but what exactly is she gonna write? For inspiration, she reads that one poem that Ira liked back then.
Сырая черная земля, не обнимай меня так нежно, не рви наряд свой белоснежный и спи спокойно, только я буду царапаться и биться, а иней пусть себе искрится, и пусть летят по небу птицы, и светит бледная заря.
Honestly, here, it's kind of relatable how embarrassed Asya gets when looking at her own work. I feel like it's a common thing among creators to judge their creations a bit too harshly. Well, that's not gonna stop our girl from making another poem. She's aware that it's difficult for her to communicate, but this should be effective enough. She's got nothing to lose anyway, and when Ira reads this poem, it will all be worth it in the end. Now, I know I'm not exactly adding much right now in this analysis video essay playthrough thing. At the moment, it's just me retelling the events of the game. However, what I'm trying to show here is how important the game's atmosphere is to its immersion. Descriptions of the town, as well as the music and Asya's introspective thoughts, are arguably the best thing about the game. They come together to form this cozy feeling whenever our protagonist is out and about, admiring everything around her. Or how she's in her warm room, preparing a gift for a person dear to her. Z.A.T.O is extremely good at making you feel a certain way. Of course, it's much more evident when you play it by yourself. Well, that's why I urged everyone to try it at the beginning of the video. So, that's my final reminder to you. Go play it if you haven't, because the things further ahead are gonna be very much pivotal to the story. Alright. After some more regularly scheduled bullying, Asya remarks how Ira has been absent for a week now. It's a bit unusual, but nobody seems to be bothered by it. She's probably taking in the sights before she has to leave her beloved town. After all, Asya would do the same. She really wants to see Ira one last time and show her the new poem. What kind of reaction would she have? Will she get happy? Flustered? That would be really cute. Asya still keeps walking around the usual routes all across town. She doesn't expect to find Ira, it's more of a duty she has to fulfill, despite the increasing cold and windy weather. Everything in this town is so familiar to her. She's seen it all 1,000 times. She can't hate it, and she can't pretend to miss it when it ceases to exist. To leave Vorkuta 5, you have to deny its existence, because it isn't supposed to exist, at least not for the public. You won't be allowed to leave unless you can convince an outsider that you're from the official public city of Vorkuta, not Vorkuta 5. This was the case in the USSR, and closed cities still exist in modern Russia, but as far as we know, they're now officially recognized and are not kept secret anymore. It's the first day of this region's polar night. This means that we're not gonna see the sun for a long time in this story. Some people get easily depressed during this time, but not Asya. She actually prefers it this way. She comes to an old playground and reminisces about her time with Tasya. It was a bit unpopular back in the day, but that's why they liked this place. But today, there seems to be someone on the merry-go-round. A drunkard? No, they don't have those around here. It's a small figure, but a very familiar one. It's Ira, quietly sobbing all alone, looking pretty disheveled. After Asya calls out to her, it's as if she wakes up from her stupor. What do you want? Asya can't answer. All she wonders about is how a person can look so small. Ira stands up and stumbles a little, very frustrated with everything. She doesn't want to be seen in this state, especially by someone like Asya. Go home. This isn't for you. Asya wants to say something, but it's all a blank. She's unable to say anything. Ira turns away, stumbles through the snow, and disappears into an alley, while Asya is unable to utter a single word. It's like she was never here. A long-forgotten feeling in her chest grows larger and darker, something she refused to acknowledge for the longest time.
The sky is full of pinpricks. The world is looking down on me, but not in the way other people do. It's kind and gentle, and I don't feel small under its gaze. Its eyes are pure and tender.
Ooh boy, that was something. This episode sets up a lot of stuff and leaves us with more questions than answers. Why does Ira behave in this way? Is it because of her parents? Does she really have a lover? She doesn't. And what about Asya? Her behavior shows that she's a shy girl who's gone through heavy abuse. A lot of self-deprecation and doubt, an ability to exert agency, inner conflicts, misguided justification of others' actions. Some and many other of such behavioral patterns can also point to household troubles. We know that she takes long walks, not only because she's searching for Ira, but also because she doesn't want to come home. This might be due to some childhood trauma, which we'll learn later is very much a possibility. What's definitely true is that her parents are unaware of the bullying Asya goes through. I mean, they would have reported it to the teachers or done at least something if they knew, right? This suggests that not only Asya doesn't tell them anything, but her parents are also somewhat neglectful of her and are not interested in whatever is going on in her school life. This will be even less excusable when we learn of what happened to this girl 3 years ago and of the mental instability that resulted from that incident, but again, I'm getting ahead of myself. For now, we've learned two very important things. One, Ira is a girl. An ordinary girl. She's a loner and has a temper. She likes romance novels and later will discover her love for sweets. She's a caring person, but doesn't want to show it. She's straightforward when it comes to expressing her actions and her opinions about others. She may be brash at times, but it's mostly because of the surrounding circumstances. She has a realistic point of view about the world that stems from her personal experiences. Ira is arguably the simplest character out of the main four, but the impact she has on Asya and the story at large is monumental. After all, finding her is the main goal of episode 2. We still don't have all the information about her to thoroughly comb through her character, so I'll save it for later. 2. Our main heroine has a very interesting outlook on life. I've already mentioned cosmopsychism. It's a philosophical view that establishes the universe as a conscious being, not unlike humans. The whole reason why living beings even have consciousness is because we derive it from the universe. It's not an emergent quality of having something like a brain, but rather it's an inherent characteristic of the universe, and thus of all that is a part of it. Asya's brand of cosmopsychism is agentive, which means that the universe chooses to act on its own and takes actions according to its motives. Without this distinction, the universe would be a passive observer, not able or not willing to do anything. Over the course of the episode, Asya thinks that the universe may be acting for her own benefit, even though she describes herself as being too insignificant in comparison. At sometimes, her reverence towards it might be considered a type of worship. Praying for Ira to appear in class or during walks is a prayer that is meant to be heard by the universe itself. It reminds me of how shamans would summon rain by appeasing nature and its deities. A kind of manifestation of phenomena, if you will. Of course, Asya is not exactly dancing or performing ritual sacrifices here, but she still expects some kind of reward for her belief, even if she denies it at times. Of course, there's no proof that the universe is doing anything here. It's mostly just Asya's delusions and wishful thinking. Well, that's how normal people see it, anyway. That's it for the post-episode analysis. I know I'm ignoring some elephants in the room, and there's still a lot more to talk about, but we just don't have all the puzzle pieces yet. We'll continue after we finish episode 2. Also, I won't mention every single thing that happens now, in the interest of time, and because I think I already adequately conveyed the vibe this game has. Also, I don't want to be stuck making this video for 2000 years. Buckle up, this is gonna be a long one. It's December 19th. Oh, hi Marina. Haven't seen you since the flashback. How have you been? She dragged Asya into the Zvezdochka cafe to discuss what they know about Ira and her disappearance. She also ordered a kartoshka and a bird's milk, two Soviet desserts that are still available and popular in post-USSR countries. Marina tells Asya that she was the last one to have seen Ira last night. She recounts how she met Ira downstairs near her apartment building. The girl looked in bad shape, something Marina hadn't seen in a while. Through tears and sobs, Ira says how she shouldn't have done something and how she doesn't want to go. Marina tries to calm her down, assuring that she won't go. But there's no more time left. She's out. Marina wants to convince her that they can still fix this, but she can't ride anymore. They stood in an embrace for some time, until Ira mentions that freaking weirdo. She saw her. After some time, Ira calms down and decides to head out, refusing Marina's offer to stay the night. The last time Ira Gachevskaya was seen, she was heading in the direction of her house, disappearing without a trace. Asya wonders why they shouldn't mention any of this to the authorities. Sure, her parents are catching a lot of flack, but that feels like they're giving up on her. Marina says that they don't really have a choice if Ira gets expelled. Homeschooling is not an option because there's no one to teach her. Her mother is a nurse and father is a researcher at the institute. Wait, wasn't it her mother who is the researcher? In any case, none of this really pertains to them needing to keep silent about meeting Ira. That's when Marina brings up Ira's little brother, Tolik. He's only finishing kindergarten and is about to enroll in school. He's gonna have a rough time because of his relation to Ira, the troublemaker, and if Asya and Marina mention anything about Ira's unstable behavior last night, then the rumors will spread like wildfire and Tolik will be known as the brother of a hysteric dropout. That's one hell of a legacy to inherit. And besides, their testimonies are not exactly pointed to her exact location, so they're not really useful. Asya is still uncomfortable with this course of action. After this, they banter about hanging Asya from a roof and making her yell or something. It's pretty funny, trust me. Asya thinks how surprisingly easy conversing with Marina is, but she still misses that feeling she had when seeing Ira. Wait a minute, who's... Oh my god, I just started to forget about you, you little piece of shit. Vadim comments on how Marina got herself a new replacement. Apparently they know each other. It's just funny how you always gotta have someone like that around. Marina retorts with a good old, you pissed your pants at 11 years old. He really only came here to check whether he really saw Asya here or not. Thought he was hallucinating. Prick. He then finally leaves them alone. Marina explains that they knew each other since they were little, then he grew up to be a jerk. Figures. Well, since Vadim's boys are now inside and are stinking up the place with their presence, the girls decide to head out. Asya and Marina walk for a bit, thinking of a good hangout spot. Oh hey, another Buddhism reference. In the end, they go their separate ways, but not before Marina reassures Asya that Ira is gonna be okay. On the way back, Asya notices that their seat in the cafe is half obscured for passersby. It seems that when Marina and Ira went to the cafe, Marina deliberately chose this spot to hide Ira from the outside. Asya's thoughts are still filled with her and the desire for her to come back. Asya asks her parents whether they've heard of the disappearance, and her father answers that there's an active investigation still ongoing. This relieves Asya, though things at school are already back to normal. What follows is the usual bullying, but this time Asya stands up for herself a little. Just a little, though. Vadim even invites her to hang out, but that's just another instance of mockery. As per usual, our girl inhales another cubic meter of copium and compares her case to the movie Scarecrow, where a girl is relentlessly abused, both mentally and physically. She then seriously considers the choice whether she should really go with the boys somewhere. Maybe it can be no. Did you forget the last time they caught you alone? Well, she just overreacted that time, and Vadim wasn't there, so you'll overreact again. And he'll make it worse. Sorry, you're right. I understand. Marina catches Asya in the hallway. She tells her that she almost died while playing hopscotch, and now her butt hurts. What a tragedy. Asya interrupts the fun by asking if there are any news about Ira. Of course, there are none, but she also wants to ask something and is uncomfortable to do so in school. The girls decide to meet after classes to have this conversation somewhere else. While sitting through a lesson, Asya absent-mindedly looks out the window. It's covered in frost, forming prickly engravings. It pulls you in like a kaleidoscope. You look at it, into it, and through it. A repeating pattern, needles upon needles upon needles. A glass that's shattered but not broken. It's just like that time. The pattern invites her in. She almost understood something back then. Maybe now it's time. Is there some kind of number? A shape? A sign? Something? She concentrates harder, but it's too much. It's too bright, too beautiful. It's overwhelming. It's too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. She snaps back to reality and then looks back at the frost-covered window. It's lovely. We'll come back to this one later. Classes have finally ended, and Asya is now outside, but Marina isn't here. Maybe she's finishing PE and is gonna come from the back exit? She hears voices from that direction. Maybe she can catch her there. Oh, there seems to be an argument. It's Marina and Vadim. He's accusing her of knowing something, says that someone he knows had started to behave strangely, and that his mom is worried. He's pleading, begging even, but Marina doesn't know anything. He says that she got better, sure she's not the same or whatever, but she's functional. Before we hear anything else, Asya slips on ice. What a dumbass. Vadim, enraged, pulls her by the coat, but Marina calms him down. He demands to know what she heard, but Asya denies everything. After a bit, Vadim drops her, but doesn't believe her lies. Marina comes to her defense and pretty much agrees to help Vadim with whatever the conversation was about. She then drags Asya out of there, leaving the bully behind.
Hate. Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live.
After the girls got away from this evil and fucked up school, Marina explains that she was waiting for Asya at the entrance gate when Vadim came up to her for a quick chat. Worst mistake of her life. You don't say. She asks Asya whether she really heard anything or not, but she still denies everything. Marina seemingly chooses to believe her. Asya thinks, if I forget about what I've heard, then my lie is gonna circle back to being true. They then head out to grab a bite at a convenience store. It turns out that Marina goes to the cafe pretty regularly with her numerous friends. She lives with her brother, who's not stingy about giving her ample allowance. She also often goes to the community center to watch some movies. Next week they're even bringing in an American one, so it's a good opportunity to invite Asya, who usually doesn't go anywhere with friends, because she doesn't have any. They then arrive at the store. Marina wants to leave this place as soon as she graduates, while Asya is quite fond of the city and is not so willing. Well, this gal is destined for something greater, obviously, so she can do anything once she gets out of this tiny hamlet. As long as this anything has nothing to do with math, or bio, or English, or anything. Some time passes, Marina tells funny stories, and Asya is being a good little listener. She looks into Marina's smile. It's lovely, but she's not sure if she sees anything behind it. Maybe Marina thinks Asya is lame and is bottling those feelings up until they burst out someday. But Asya will be ready for that day, and until then, she'll enjoy her time to the fullest. It's like the universe is throwing her a bone, again. But it's not working like it's supposed to, and it can only be one person's fault. It's as if this is not enough for her. She still thinks about Ira, but the situation is not that alarming. It's only been 2 days. It's yet again Asya's irrational side taking hold of her. There's no way the universe would let something bad happen to Ira. That's just plain wrong. The girls finally reached the back of the research institute. Marina asks Asya what's wrong and assumes it's because of her blabbering that she's so down. Caught off guard, Asya reaffirms to her that everything is okay. After some back and forth compliments, she then asks Marina about the rumored lover of Ira. This makes her feel repulsed at the thought, and then she reveals that this guy is her brother, and that he is not her lover. The actual reason why they know each other is because Marina's brother, Lev, works at the research complex. He provides experimental, under-the-counter medication for Ira in order to alleviate her neurotic condition. Nothing illegal though. That night, when the girls saw her in tears, like she was reduced to a ghost, that was one of the times her condition took over. Sometimes she just can't focus on anything, any sound, any person. Sometimes her mind gets tangled and she starts to panic. Ira's been taking these pills for a year, but in the past month she decided against it. One could guess it's because of some side effects. Asya starts panicking and asks Marina yet again why they can't tell anyone about this. This isn't a matter of the family's reputation anymore, this is a matter of a person's safety. Marina retorts by saying that the police are not going to find anything with the evidence they'll provide, but Asya vehemently opposes this idea. If they tell them, the police will know that this is a serious issue and will work hard to find her. Maybe even the entire city will. Marina, meanwhile, lets out a sarcastic, long laugh. No one is going to do anything. In fact, everyone will say, "Oh, that makes sense. I always thought there was something off with her. That's right, she was totally messed up in the head. Yeah, this was bound to happen. Sick people can't just snap. It's sad, but what can you do? No point in looking now. Better than a 10, she killed herself in a ditch. Better than 100, she froze to death." Asya cannot believe a single word the person in front of her said. Marina continues trying to tear down Asya's naive outlook. She thought that she would understand, but she may have been wrong. Ira kept silent on this for a reason, and that's something they have to respect. Asya says she understands, but then unexpectedly counters with how Marina is afraid of the consequence of such action, that telling people would also implicate her and her brother in Ira's disappearance. She's not judging her for that, but Marina totally does judge herself, thinking this is some sort of gotcha moment used against her. Asya denies such intentions, which results in an awkward back and forth of clarifications and apologies. In the end, Marina concludes that Asya is someone she can't quite understand, but feels like she can trust her, and that she's a really nice person, much nicer than Marina could ever be. Internally, Asya disagrees, thinking that such praise and kindness are misguided, but they still deserve gratitude. She looks into the world, a world where everything is kind to her, an unjust, lovely world. Its kindness is misguided on a scale that she can't even fathom, but calling it misguided is an insult to the universe itself. What does she know about what's worthy and what isn't? At most, she's a conceited gnat. She shouldn't even try to understand the whats and whys. The only thing she has to do, the only reasonable thing for her to do, is say thank you. So, she'll do just that. She'll say it as many times as it takes to get her feelings across. In other words, she'll say it endlessly.
Thank you, 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 thank you.
It's not enough. Her life is finite, and so is her gratitude. It will never be enough, even if she keeps living until our dying sun swallows the earth. It's a promise she will never fulfill. So, she'll retract it. She apologizes. She needs a different approach. She can express only a finite amount of gratitude, but what if the gratitude itself becomes infinite? She can repeat her thanks for as long as she lives, like a pulsar emitting wave after wave of electromagnetic radiation. Yes, and the pulsar's radiation travels endlessly inside a vacuum. Hers should be able to do the same. But right now, her signals are buried under the 10,000 kilometers of our planet's atmosphere. They're too weak. They dissipate under the weight of over 5 quadrillion tons of air. Her signal is not strong enough. So now what? Becoming an astronaut can be an option, but she doesn't have the qualities to be one. Next best thing is sending a strong radio signal to break through the atmosphere. But that requires top-of-the-line equipment. It's not possible. But then, what other options are there? Of course, it's so much like her to rely on others. It's so much like her to look for external means of getting what she wants. The answer is right there, right in front of her nose. The answer is in her reflection. It's staring at her from the bathroom mirror.
Me. It's all about me. I am my own parabolic antenna. The strength of my signal is decided by my own level of gratitude. It's a matter of my resolve. It's a matter of admiration. It's a matter of dedication. If my signal is unable to pierce through the sky, that's a personal failing of mine. That's something I'm responsible for fixing. Can I do that? I can. Naturally, I can. Any point made against that will be an excuse. I just need to work hard. I need to work hard so I will feel so much more grateful. I need to overflow with adoration. I need to overflow with reverence. I need to overflow with love. If I fail to do that, my voice will never make it to the cosmos. And then, when I'm so overwhelmed with grace that I could die, I'll get up to the highest point atop the sea level that I'm able to reach. I'll climb up high, and I will look into the sky, and I will angle myself so that the trajectory is just right. Then I will start my most powerful transmission to date. I will scream thank you, and I love you, so loud that all of the people in the radius of 3,000 kilometers will feel it in their hearts, and bones, and muscles. And their TV signals and radios will break. And the next day, the whole world will report a radio signal of unprecedented strength blasting from the communism peak. Although, maybe Mount Elbrus is more realistic. If I remember right, Dad climbed it when he was in university. At least he has a pin from there tucked away in one of the drawers. Maybe I should ask him about it. No, better not. He's tired after work. I should go to my room. Tomorrow's the weekend, so I can stay up late. I don't need to do any homework today either. I have the whole evening to myself. I will rest. And starting tomorrow, I'll work harder than ever before. I'll love this world with everything I've got.
Have you ever heard of the concept of Denpa? The word means electromagnetic wave, but it is also a term for people who may feel disconnected from reality and have a tendency to indulge in their own delusions, mentally removing themselves from reality. The origins of the term are heavily connected to a belief that surrounding technology and the signal that it emits affect a human's brain structure and chemistry, resulting in people seeing things they're not supposed to see. There exists a variety of Denpa-adjacent media and a whole subgenre called Denpa games. At some point, you may have even drawn comparisons between Z.A.T.O and anime, like Serial Experience Lain and Evangelion, or even games like the science adventure series, Sayonara, Totono, and the Bag of Milk duology. Denpa games themselves are characterized by mundane life being slowly consumed by horror and the supernatural, be it in the real world or inside the character's mind. They tend to focus on extremely detailed characterization through introspection, which allows one to follow a character's descent into unfiltered madness. Pure Denpa games also often contain all the content warnings under the sun, including NSFW ones. Yeah, they're not joking when they show this stuff on Startup. You can check Chaos's excellent video if you want to know more about the genre, but the question that is relevant here is, how does this all relate to Z.A.T.O? Well, after the previous scene, where Asya becomes Heisenberg, we know that the electromagnetic wave part of Denpa is being portrayed here quite literally. Our protagonist is clearly not mentally well, she disassociates herself from reality, has trouble connecting with people, and has a unique point of view about the nature of everything. But I wouldn't call Z.A.T.O full-on Denpa. More like Denpa Light, if that makes sense. See, one of the hallmarks of games in this genre is the way they portray moments of existential horror and mental distress. They tend to be very extreme and numerous in that sense. And sure, Z.A.T.O will have a couple of moments that can be called visceral and disturbing, but the game never fully submerges itself in the insanity that is so often attributed to Denpa games. Its goal is not to wow people with its shock value, which often happens with bad Denpa games, but to tell a more grounded story of people who are helpless because of the circumstances they find themselves in. But again, if I go any further, I'll be spoiling what's gonna happen next. Just know that if you've ever felt that this game is in any way Lain-like, then this is why. It's 21st of December. Asya standing in front of Yeah, I haven't talked about the OST much, huh? It's entirely composed of royalty-free tracks from Pixabay, itch.io, and Free Music Archive. You can download the soundtrack on Z.A.T.O's itch.io page or on Fairy's Patreon. Two songs that are not included, however, are the intro theme Out of Love by Scene and the credits theme Golf by Jay Wharton, probably because they're not exactly royalty-free. Despite this, the chosen tracks are very fitting to whatever situation is happening in-game. Notably, Fairy is more recognized for her music, usually Vocaloid and Synth V originals, and for her another story-driven project called Parties Are for Losers, but that's a whole another story. Asya has already made rounds around the city, but there's one place that she was neglecting: the car repair shop. After a sudden incident, she was avoiding the place, but now she's determined to visit it again and admire it in all its beauty. It's imperative that she does this, so that she's filled with more love for the universe and achieves sufficient signal strength. While en route, she sees Vadim anxiously crossing the street, but she's more focused on not encountering him than figuring out what he's doing here. And here's the shop. Looks pretty inviting. The surroundings are very quiet. When she tries looking through the window, Asya only sees her reflection. They fixed it then. She wants to go inside, but it doesn't seem that anyone's there. They should be open, even if it's Sunday. Asya goes to check the schedule on the metal plate near the door. Let's see. Weird. It's only a bit past 12. The door's not budging either. Is it not the time yet? But when, if not today? Would the universe really hold her back like that? No, the mechanics are probably on lunch break. It should be listed somewhere on the plate then. Nope, no breaks. Maybe it's a holiday? Okay, check it again. Huh? Wait, what's going on here? Is she sleep deprived? Alright, just gotta focus this time. Okay. No. That's not... She's... What the... Ah, okay. This is something that happens from time to her. It's a dream. Sometimes the numbers are wrong, sometimes objects are contorting into other shapes. Just gotta close your eyes and understand that this isn't real, and that she'll wake up in her room and see light beaming through her window. She'll see the morning sky in pink and blue hues. Everything is gonna be alright. Okay, let's take one last look.
I see. That's what it is. I stumble back. What is this? What is this? I look around. Is it the rain or is this the pain? Garen has put a lot of things on Garen. Wait here, I saw him wandering in the opposite direction. He was looking around because it was pricey and was well done. But I hid so much. How did you know, Garen? How did you know? I wonder how you did this, Garen. I can't be very shrewd. You're really amazing. You've really helped me out today, Vadim. Today, I've set out to fall deeper than before. To fall deeper in love. Right now, I'm so full of love, I feel like I'm gonna vomit. I'm so grateful my fingers won't stop shaking. Thank you, Vadim. I won't forget this till the day I die.
The windows still only show us a silhouette. There's no snowfall, only snow. It's her, behind the glass. She's looking in and looking out at the same time. Looking in and looking out. What do you see, Asya? What do you see from the inside of a sealed body shop? The same thing you see from the outside, Asya. The same blue sky, the same infinity, the same unfashionable coat. It smells of oil. Heavy breathing, hearts about to burst out of the chest. It's cold, dark and dirty. The weight sticks to the insides. Muffled voices, barely recognizable, laughing. Words collapse before they reach them. A wall, a door and a lock stop anything before them. You try banging and yelling, all useless. Your body's too soft. Your words are too weak. Your outline is too blurry. Of course you can't break through. You're no more than a shadow. A dirty, dusty, grimy shadow that reeks of petroleum and sweat. Why is a shadow afraid of the dark? Perhaps it didn't know it was a shadow. It lived too long thinking it was something so much more solid. It believed the notion of agency existed in this world. What a naive little shadow that was. It's time for it to face the truth. Soon it will cease to smell the oil, hear the voices, or feel the pain. It's a good deal, isn't it? The void opens its maw.
Get out!
Huh? A clear voice. So clear it's like the words were spoken right into her ear. A window. Has it always been there? She stumbles through the darkness and finds a wrench to steady herself with. She feels its temperature, weight, and texture. She has a shape. She's there. After a moment of hesitation, she finally swings her arm down at the window. Now, you might be wondering, what the f just happened? And I wish I could tell you right now, but it just wouldn't make sense without the prerequisite information that the game will give us around the end of episode 2. So again, I ask you to bear with me and keep this series of events in your mind, because it's all gonna come together in the end, trust me. Though you might have already pieced some information just from that, and we'll discuss it later as well. December 22nd. The girls meet during a break. Marina complains about how the constant dark puts a damper on things. They talk about this and that, how some parents enforce curfews on their kids after the disappearance. This leads to how search parties are now being organized, but to no avail. Marina brings up how Ira could be staying at someone's house, and how one of them could even be hiding her. Asya is not a fan of this theory. Marina wants to present another possibility, but instead she asks Asya her phone number so that later they can talk this over in private. Asya returns to her class and doesn't give Vadim her homework this time, because she didn't do it. Understandable, considering what happened yesterday. Vadim forgives her, but tries to intimidate the girl to inconclusive results. Well, good thing there are nerds nearby that can be easily scared into giving up their notes. How resourceful, Vadim! Off a cliff, Ilya. Okay, not yet. Asya still needs to ask you a question, which seems pretty urgent. They meet after class, and she asks Vadim about something that had happened yesterday. Vadim is visibly caught off guard and tells his boys to go on without him. Then, he forcefully pins Asya against the wall and demands to know what she saw. What the fuck, dude? How is this not reported as any kind of harassment? This is supposed to be a scary moment, but our girl doesn't seem to be too bothered by this. Instead, she asks Vadim about the prank that he did on that metal plate in the car repair shop, about how he managed to do that and how he knows about Tasya. The dude is absolutely lost and thinks Asya is drugged out of her mind. She's absolutely convinced, though, that it was Vadim that did it. He, however, no longer cares and says that he doesn't know any Tasyas before leaving. Asya's copium injectors are going into overdrive. She genuinely doesn't understand Vadim's behavior. He's definitely the type to brag about his pranks. Why keep silent now? So, she comes up with an explanation that the dude is feeling guilty for his actions and is pretending to not know about the prank in order to not spread any rumors. If Ira heard this, she would genuinely pass out from such copium exposure levels, holy shit. Even Asya is not fully buying into this lie because of how shitty of a person Vadim is, but it's better than facing reality. So, she thanks him for a chance to undo what happened and forgives him, as she always does. We're now in the library. It's very cozy here, I love the color palette. Asya is a regular here and has read pretty much everything that she wanted multiple times. The librarian lady greets her and comments how she hasn't been here that often lately. Asya's just been going out more, which is good, cause apparently she used to spend all of her time here. She asks whether the library has Angelique, that book Ira mentioned. Unfortunately, they don't, but that's okay. She wasn't in the mood for that kind of reading anyway. Something more familiar is her speed. Like 100 Years Ahead by Kir Bulichev, a sci-fi novel about a kid transporting himself into the future. Asya says that a movie adaptation came out last year, and indeed, it did. It's messing with how she remembers the book though, so she tries to remind herself of everything that happens in it. Keep in mind its setting, plot points, characters. Tasya, she's not doing so well, considering that one of the characters, Werther, is someone who wasn't featured in the original novel, but instead is an addition exclusive to the movie. Somewhat frustrated, she closes the book and picks something else. A folktale named Morozko, also known as Father Frost. It's a retelling that has something special in it, but it's being covered up somehow. As with any folktale, there are numerous versions and printed editions of this fairy tale, but the general plot goes something like this. A woman has a daughter and a stepdaughter. She orders her husband to take the stepdaughter into the snowy wilderness where she'd be abandoned to die. When the stepdaughter is left alone in the woods, she meets Morozko, who tries to freeze her while asking whether she's cold or not. The girl always answers in a polite tone that she's warm and never complains. Morozko then shows mercy on the poor child and gifts her with clothes and jewels. When she returns home, her mother is angry and envious, so she sends her actual daughter to Morozko. She is later found dead in the woods because she couldn't bear the cold and refused to be polite. The message here is that you have to be hardworking, resilient, and of good moral character to be rewarded, while if you're rude and lazy, you'll die by supernatural means. Asya thinks that children actually like being scared and that they'll come up with reasons to be terrified. Is it because they're thrill seekers, or is it a survival instinct? To imagine that there's always danger lurking in the dark, to second guess good intentions. That would be a depressing life if you had to scare yourself into experiencing it. But Asya no longer thinks like that. She knows how the world works now. There's way more to love in the world than to hate or fear. She then interprets the character of Morozko as the will of the world. You may fear it, you may find yourself in a situation when any positive feeling towards it may seem impossible, but you must persevere and love it still, and then you'll be rewarded. After this revelation, Asya finds a never-seen-before page. Every character is alive and well, smiling and looking right at her. She finally got the message after all these years. This page is for her and her eyes only. What an incredible honor. She's such a lucky girl. Aww, schizophrenia never looked so cute before. She leaves the library, knowing that the universe has acknowledged her and has sent its little blessing her way. It's the evening. Marina finally calls Asya despite being fashionably late. They have some small talk about the monumental, life-shattering library trip, about books and magazines they read. Apparently, Asya's father is very much against his daughter reading flashy magazines, particularly issues of Rovesnik, which was a publication dedicated to covering topics that would be pretty unusual for Soviet teenagers, like rock music and Western culture. After they talked enough about comparing their taste in literature, Marina brings out the main topic. We know that Ira has a special neurotic condition where her brain sometimes comes under attack from sudden, indiscriminate bursts of stress and disorientation. The thing is, if she remains in such states for long periods of time, she might start losing control of her higher functions. Just how Ira said to Marina when they last met. The pills only made those temporary episodes shorter and easier to wake up from, so to speak. But this might be irreversible. She'll start to lose what makes one human. Her consciousness will begin to fall apart. Marina presents how she thinks the events of that night went. First, Ira was having a prolonged episode of the disease until Asya made her snap out of it somewhat. She hurriedly went away and reached Marina's house. From there, she went to a place where she is now. It's highly unlikely that she went to someone else's place in that condition. Finding a hiding spot would also be difficult. She'd be already found if that was the case. And she's definitely not out of town because closed cities have border control that doesn't allow people to leave without a reason. So a logical conclusion would be that she went home. But then, why wasn't the missing person report called off? There are two parts to this. First, considering Ira's state at the time, it probably took her a long time to reach home, somewhere past midnight. The report was filed around 11 p.m. That's why it was sent out in the first place. But why wasn't it called off the day after? Well, imagine this scenario. You're a parent whose child hasn't come home for a while. You're extremely worried, so worried that you go to the police. But when you return home, you see your daughter stumbling like a drunk to your home entrance. You let her in and examine her state, which is something that you never wanted to see. Eyes glazed over, slumped body, involuntary tears and snot, general unresponsiveness. You'd think she's on drugs and be very angry with her. But there's something wrong. Her behavior is unsettling, but not in the way one would behave while on well-known substances. Good thing your spouse is a nurse who can somewhat confirm that. The dilemma here is, do you seek help at the hospital? Now, this seems like a no-brainer for some, but in the USSR, healthcare was not exactly trustworthy after the 70s. Funding was low and the industry was ripe with corruption, while the country's technological progress in medicine was subpar. Although healthcare was free, there was a sentiment among the populace that it's risky to trust the government with your health. That's why self-medication and traditional remedies were popular alternatives to licensed hospitals. However, we should not forget that we live in a closed city, which enjoys some privileges that a regular Soviet town would not have. That includes medical attention of higher quality. Vorkuta 5 in particular has a whole research institute, so there shouldn't be a shortage of high-grade professionals. And, well, I did say to imagine yourself in this, but you're not Ira's parents, so their choice is theirs alone. In the end, yes, Marina insinuates that Ira's parents are treating her at home and are keeping quiet about it, all to save the family's reputation. Asya still doesn't exactly believe it, but it is a possibility. The worst thing is, her condition is probably worsening as they speak. Asya almost shouts that they have to do something about it, but the sound of the TV stops her. The TV symbolizes her father's presence. Marina thinks that asking Ira's brother, Tolik, could yield something useful, so she decides to skip school and visit his kindergarten. She also asks if Asya would like to accompany her to Ira's house to try and see everything with their own eyes. Asya immediately agrees. She then writes down Marina's phone number, they say goodnight to each other and hang up. Asya looks at what she scribbled in her notebook during the conversation. She didn't mean to draw anything, and yet the shape really reminds her of someone.
I miss you. I really, really miss you.
December 23rd. The classes pass by, and the only thing that matters is what the girls set out to do. Asya rushes outside and meets Marina when it's a bunch of primary school children firing snowballs at Asya and Marina. They barely escape when they meet Vadim again. He hired these kids to pelt snowballs at the girls because why not? He promised to show them a very special deck of cards. Not a very Komsomol thing to do. By the way, Komsomol was a political youth organization that promoted communist values and made teenagers and young adults perform community service to both improve quality of life and speed up the industrialization process in the country. When someone is referred to as a man of Komsomol, that usually means they uphold communist values and are generally a well-behaved civilian. Anyway, Vadim is coming with the girls to Ira's apartment.
Wait, what?
Marina says that his brainless brawn will help them, which is doubtful, but okay. We also get to know how Marina does academically. Ah, I see. Another copium enjoyer. Welcome to the team. The party is now assembled. Vadim pretty much knows everything already. Asya's not happy about it, especially considering what Ira did to him in the past. But I guess even he can keep a secret if need be. Why else would Marina trust him? He's still an asshole though. On the way, Marina shares her results regarding meeting Tolik at the kindergarten. She didn't even get a chance to talk to him. The boy just ran away. Vadim criticizes Marina's decisions, and they break out into a childish spat, which is admittedly hilarious. This is gonna be a common theme throughout the next hour or so. Marina and Vadim's interactions are very much something that would happen between a pair of bickering siblings who, on the outside, hate each other's guts, but they would help one another in a heartbeat if it came down to it. Of course, these two are a bit more adversarial than that, but you get what I mean. And, oh, they're playing tag now. So much for hating each other's guts. After that's all over, the gang arrives at Ira's apartment block. Marina says that she visited the hospital Ira's mother works at. She hasn't shown up ever since the disappearance. Sounds suspicious, but Vadim is still not buying into Marina's theory. Neither does Asya for that matter. But still, it's worth a try, even if the chances of it being true are slim. Vadim even equates this idea to aliens crash landing in Tunguska of all things. Asya thinks it was a remote energy transfer that happened there. Something about lasers and plasma. The event they're referring to is the Tunguska impact of 1908, an explosion that happened in the Siberian taiga in Yeniseisk Governorate, now known as Krasnoyarski Krai. The scientific consensus is that the explosion was caused by a celestial body, though whether it was a comet or an asteroid is being debated to this day. Science fiction works based on this event also popularized alternative explanations, like an alien spaceship crash landing or a beam of energy. Marina interrupts this very unlikely but fun discussion between Asya and Vadim by introducing her own version of events. Yeah, okay. Wait, holy shit, is that an Occam's Razor reference? They go like this for a while, and Asya is happy that she gets to talk like this with people. But, of course, nothing good happens to her if it's not a blessing from the universe. The signal grows stronger. They finally approach the entrance to the apartment building. The game tells us a little about commie blocks, particularly Khrushchevkas, and how they're almost indistinguishable from each other. It's arguably the most famous piece of Soviet architecture. Or infamous, depending on who you ask. The group enters the building, and the inside is also the same in all of them, including Asya's. Even Ira's apartment is on the same floor and in the same place. Very cute. Marina tells everyone to stand near her and not say anything unless she says so. She rings the doorbell, and after a bit, we see Ira's mother, who's looking pretty disheveled. Marina introduces everyone as Ira's friends and asks for a book that she had lent to her. It's titled On the Stability of Closed Systems. The woman is surprised that her daughter reads stuff like that, but still agrees to look for it. Marina then explains to the gang that she didn't lend any books, so Ira's mother is gonna come empty-handed. That's when they'll insist on looking for it inside the apartment. Even our resident girl grappler isn't okay with the plan, but he doesn't get time to object when Ira's mother comes back. With the book, which she hands to Marina. She then says her thanks to the gang and slams the door in front of them. Marina is in total disbelief. She never gave this book to Ira, ever. She had it in her bag in case they'd need to prove that they found it, but it's not there. Instead, it was at Ira's place. Asya opens the book on a random page. There's an order of certain components, starting from moral belief, prejudice, subjectivity, and it goes all the way down to food, water, sleep, breathing, and eventually soul. The soul, in particular, is the root of all cognitive function. Each subsequent component following the root is the result of varying degrees from the base code, which... Oh, come on, Vadim, we really were digging for gold there. This is actually another piece of the puzzle that will help us later, so keep it in the back of your head. As for the actual book, I haven't been able to find anything on it. Maybe it exists, maybe it doesn't. If someone knows where all of this was sourced from, please leave a comment. Marina's still digging in her bag to find the copy that she brought, but there was nothing. It's like the copy Ira's mother gave to her was the exact one that Marina brought with her. She looks so genuinely lost that even Vadim is uncharacteristically serious about this. But then... so it worked. She then quickly regains her composure and brushes it all off. Guess she's a bird brain after all. Teehee. Vadim goes along with it and throws out another casual insult. They then speculate about stuff which doesn't go anywhere, but Marina had already concocted another plan to get Ira's attention. They go behind the building and stop at the playground that's wedged in between the apartment blocks. So what's the glorious plan in question? Yep, throw rocks at Ira's window. A pretty normal suggestion, all things considered. But the target window is on the 5th floor. That's where, yet again, our new best friend Vadim comes in. Surely he'll make the shot. They identify the exact window. It's the one with a teddy behind it. Asya's imagination is flaring up again. Was this the window Ira was looking out of every day? Was she holding her teddy bear during those times? What's its name? Misha? Winnie? Sorry, Asya, but you're wrong. It's Roosevelt. Marina had dug up a couple of pebbles and handed them to Asya and Vadim. Dude's eyeing the window like it's his last three-pointer of his whole career. He's taking too long, so Marina goes first and doesn't even reach the wall. Vadim immediately calls her handicapped and shoots his shot. It's not too impressive, just below the 2nd floor. He calls her Kaplan, which is a first for this game so far, but then they decide to hold a competition. First one to hit the target wins. Loser buys soda. It's now Asya's turn. She's not too sure about this, her physical capabilities are pretty poor. However, she reminds herself that within her there is blood of ancient hunters, warriors that could overpower prey much larger than themselves. The inner warrior is waking up. Adrenaline is pumping. It's do or die, Asya. You can do it. Your friends, your comrades are cheering you on. She prepares her throw, and with utmost intensity, she... Not even 2 meters. Yeah, okay, you can sit this one out. Vadim fires the rest of his ammo and hits the 3rd-story window. With bated breath, the hooligans await their heavenly judgment, but nobody came. What follows is some of the usual finger-pointing and squabble, but they quickly resume the contest. Marina takes her turn and... a 4-4 hit. A moment of bewilderment followed by a smirk of hubris. We don't need you, Vadim. Me and Asya can do this by ourselves. No need for a 3rd wheel. Oh, the humiliation, the bubbling pride inside of him. He's not giving up. His next throw reaches even higher. Now the competition is getting interesting. What follows is an intense series of throws, reaching higher or lower with a frequency of, well, a bunch of kids throwing snowballs and whatnot. Asya is making herself useful by keeping track of the score and running under fire to collect rocks that have landed. By the way, can I mention that this is my favorite illustration in the game? I love how passionate and forceful Marina's expression and body language are, and Asya is looking like a creature. This just reminds me of the good old days when I used to throw rocks at a friend's window so that he would go out to play with me. This whole sequence is pretty much that, a depiction of how kids would have fun during those times. Asya contemplates how the fallen pebbles look like a reverse meteor shower, and how they are a sea of dark parabolas, most uneven, interrupted. She gets hit by a rock. That's what you get for daydreaming while collecting rocks under a so-called meteor shower. This gives us my 2nd favorite illustration in the game. Poor Isinka. Get well soon. Our junior athletes are reaching higher and higher, hitting a 4.54 milestone. Victory is near, and so everyone chooses what soda they would like to get from the loser. Vadim chooses cream soda, Asya likes Duchess, and Marina prefers Tarhun. Duchess and Tarhun, in particular, are drinks that originated in the Soviet Union. Duchess, or Duchesse, being pear-flavored, while Tarhun is made using an extract of a plant named tarragon or estragon. I'm not sure if there's any significance to them preferring these kinds of sodas, but Asya remarks that Vadim drinking cream soda is cute. I have no idea why. Maybe they thought he's too mature for that? Well, anyway, Marina prepares her ultimate throw. She hasn't missed one in a while, as she said. That's probably a jinx. Oh, no, yep, definitely a jinx. The criminals quickly make their getaway, but the disgruntled voice recognized one of them as Marina. She's probably gonna get an earful from her brother, but the kids are having too much fun to care about that, until Asya inevitably asks what's their next move. Fortunately, there's a plan C. The actual reason why Vadim is here is that some time ago he checked every building in the town to see if they have rooftop access. The gang is gonna go to one of them and try to see into Ira's window to maybe catch a glimpse of her. If they had a flashlight, they would try to flash Morse code in there, but they thought of this idea a bit too late. In any case, after a bit more banter, they enter a building that is opposite of Ira's and go to the top floor. There's a ladder and a hatch that they can open. Getting out on the roof would be dangerous because of all the snow and ice, so they decide to use binoculars while standing on the ladder. Marina looks out and reckons that throwing a pebble from here should be easier than from the ground. Asya suggests she runs down and grabs some from the playground, but Vadim stops her in her tracks, prohibiting Marina from breaking any more windows while sarcastically comparing her to a female World War II sniper Lyudmila Polichenko, who was so famous that she earned the nickname Lady Death due to her immense kill count. The binoculars get passed to Asya, and so she climbs the ladder to see the outside view. The endless purple sky stretches across the whole world. The snowy fog is so low that you'd think you can touch it if you were tall enough. Asya asks whether this is the tallest building, and Vadim tells her that the radio tower on top of the research institute is the highest point in the city. It's off limits though. Asya tinkers with the binoculars and spots Ira's window, but the room is pitch black, so there's not much to see. Well, there is something. A pair of eyes, tangled hair, someone looking back. No, never mind. There's nothing. Nothing for her to see at least. It was a human shape sitting in that room. The shape of Ira's mother. So, in the end, nothing came of their investigation, no matter how Marina tries to deny it. She's even a bit pissed about it, snapping at Vadim when he remarks how he saw her hanging out with friends prior to all this. In the end though, Marina invites everyone to the movies. Vadim, being his usual bitchy self, doesn't like the idea but gets goaded into it anyway. Asya thinks about the whole situation as a temporary thing. Vadim will soon return to bullying her at school, and Marina will stop talking to her once the Ira situation gets resolved. It's a short-lived blessing, but one she shall appreciate nonetheless. They then arrive at the movie theater, sharing corn puffs and one large bottle of communal soda that serves as a compromise, since they couldn't decide who's the loser. Don't worry, Asya, I'm sure you'll get your Duchess in the sequel. The movie itself is from the US, about a crossdresser. I have to add that LGBTQ+ representation in the USSR was almost non-existent for a large portion of its history. The government would often dismantle any groups that advocated for gay rights, often using physical removal as a permanent solution. Article 121 of the Soviet Penal Code, which prohibited specifically homosexual relations between men, was removed only in 1993, while queer behavior was no longer considered a mental illness only in 1999. Anyway, the kids are no strangers to such flicks. Soviet cinema also has a very popular movie, Hello, I'm Your Aunt, which has a similar premise. Vadim tries to one-up everyone by saying that his The lights dim, and the pre-movie roll of Fitil starts playing. Fitil was a movie journal that made short, 10-minute long comedic episodes that were shown just before a movie would start. These episodes would tell anecdotes and stories that would make fun of corruption and general misdemeanors like drinking in public spaces. The journal's goal was to fight with negative aspects of society by injecting a humorous, almost mocking attitude towards it, and encouraging citizens to not fall prey to these things. Then the film begins. It's very glossy, very colorful. There's usually a clear contrast between Soviet and American movies. Soviet cinema was more grounded, more down-to-earth and true to life, depicting stories on a more personal scale. Hollywood, in comparison, had advanced filming technology and equipment, and a whole different philosophy when it came to making art, and it showed. Asya describes it as an exquisite fake. one that even the creators believe is real. Writing an unbelievable story and then selling it as real with unrivaled professionalism and creativity. That's what Hollywood was all about. Not that Soviet filmmakers couldn't create masterpieces that incorporated fantastical elements, they very much could. But I'm not a film critic, so my opinion is just that, my opinion. Turns out it's a very funny movie, but Asya's vision starts to blur. Sounds turn into an unrecognizable cacophony. Her cheeks are hot from what I assume are tears. Marina asks her what's wrong, but receives no answer. It's all just noise. She wakes up outside the theater in Marina's arms. Vadim asks what's going on and offers to bring something to drink, but his concern is unneeded. Asya is now fully lucid and is now wondering about Ira. Where is she now? What is she doing? Maybe she's given up, thinking that everyone's forgotten about her. Vadim tries to reassure her that she'll be found, but that's not what Asya meant. She asks how can they even do this? Laugh, watch movies, have fun, while Ira is deteriorating by the second. In return, Vadim asks if they should just sit down and cry while waiting for a miracle to happen. She disagrees, but doesn't know what to do instead. Spending time like that makes her feel rotten. Vadim tries to put his thoughts through a realistic lens. It's not their fault that Ira disappeared, but self-flagellating yourself like that won't help anyone, including Ira. In her head, Asya knows that he's not wrong, but it's his perspective, one that she's not allowed to have. She then compares herself to a pig who doesn't deserve to frolic around the grasslands, while a horse is lying in a ravine with broken legs. It's the same sentiment she expressed earlier, that she doesn't deserve the blessing of hanging out with friends and having a normal life with normal relationships. It contradicts her earlier view on how such things should be accepted and appreciated, no matter whether she thinks such gifts from the heavens are just or not. Her disgust with herself, combined with her love for her friends and especially Ira, creates this mindset that eats at a person from within, making one believe that they shouldn't have existed to begin with. Asya responds to Vadim, saying she can't feel the way he does. Ira wasn't polite to him or anyone, so they might not feel too bad for her, but Asya, on the other hand, can't imagine living without her. You didn't even know her that well. Well, might as well laugh, Vadim. You've earned it. But he doesn't. Marina quietly demands Vadim goes back to the theater, but he instead heads home. It's not really the mood right now for watching movies. Marina then starts blaming herself for even gathering everyone in the first place, saying that it was dumb of her to think that she could change something and hanging on to hope that her actions will help someone. Asya objects to this, but Marina interrupts her and says that she is a forgiven person and that she wishes she could forgive herself like that. Then they part ways. Asya regards this day as another illusion, an American film, a dream you will inevitably wake up from. Everything will be the same tomorrow. Same classes, same bullying, same prayers for Ira to come. She thinks about how fun it would have been if she spent this day with Ira. How high would she throw a pebble? What soda would she prefer? Would she enjoy the movie? How nice would it be to see her laughing? Asya returns to the playground, dragging her feet across the snow. She doesn't believe Marina's theory. Hell, Marina herself didn't believe in it either. But this is something that Asya has to do. It's disrespectful to even think the way they did, but this is a selfish gesture that she allows herself today. This is something that makes her feel content, to have done something that may or may not bring results. A message. Two girls meet up outside and are soon gonna head to the Z.A.T.O cafe. Marina slips a pill bottle into Ira's pocket and warns her not to give in to her addictive personality. Ira returns the favor by puffing smoke into Marina's face. She probably deserved it. Inside, they start talking about the chair incident and how Vadim irritated Ira. Yeah, you tell me. She mentions Asya and how after that day she caught her doing her business and started to apologize for everything that is happening to her. Marina explains that Asya might have become clingy, because those kinds of people don't get much attention and tend to put a lot of importance into seemingly insignificant things. She would also treat it like a big deal if it happened to her in middle school. Ira's not sure what Marina is talking about there. It all makes sense on the surface, but it would then have to be applied to herself as well, which it doesn't, because that would mean that Marina... Ira changes the subject, to Marina's displeasure, but ultimately she doesn't mind as she starts prattling about some school drama and her friends and stuff. Ira's slowly zoning out. She knows that Marina noticed her not listening, but she's talking like nothing's happening. That's right, nothing has happened, nor will ever happen. It's all pointless. Ira first intended to tell Marina that she's done, but couldn't quite catch the moment. Well, she could, all this time, just walk away, but it's particularly hard to do this time. Why is she so weak? No matter how much she chews, the cake doesn't taste like anything. Alright, another signal, but this one is a bit easier to parse. I won't dive too deep here, but the important bit right now is that we know why Ira's meeting with Asya behind the garages had irritated her so much. Well, at least that's the reason Ira gave to Marina. What's also important is that Ira had stopped taking her pills sometime before this conversation, presumably even as far back as before the chair incident. Why would Ira stop taking them? It's probably because of those side effects they mentioned. Do they have anything to do with Ira's behavior? We still don't have all the information we need, so let's just keep going. Imagine drawing a line. It won't be perfectly straight. It'll be wavy and jagged at times, especially if you go on long enough. So you keep going. From up close it's a mess, but if you start zooming out, all the imperfections will become insignificant, until your eyesight will only see a single, perfect straight line. Even if the fluctuations are enormous, the line just needs to be long enough so that they too become negligible. Picture now an endless line, one that stretches across the whole entire universe. Only an infinite curve could possibly offset it, right? In other words, a circle. A cassette reel that plays everything that has and will ever happen. Is the sun endless, or is it stuck on loop? The reel is endless, hence there's no need to rewind the tape. And it's a beautiful song. There's no need to change it, nor is it possible to do so. To dream of altering something that's already perfect, it's blasphemous. Who are you to think you could improve a masterpiece? You, a human? Or do you wish to deface it, to inflict change like you'd inflict a wound upon the body? How low. Thankfully, the body that you're wounding heals much better and faster than you could ever imagine. You push the knife in, and you feel it all. The resistance of the skin, the muscle, the bone. You feel the warm blood gushing. You blink. There is no knife. There is no cut. Your hands are clean. All that remains is a faint smell of rust. You act surprised, but deep down, you knew this would happen. Because you've always been aware of it. Everything in this world returns to absolute. It's December 24th. She feels the sun's gaze pierce through the concrete. It's something that she has to catch, something that she needs to see and own up to her hubris. Her signal is not strong enough to pierce for solid objects. Even the window is too thick, showing only a face she doesn't want to look at. Vadim brings Asya back to Earth, asking for her homework once more. She's reluctant this time, asking why they can't do it themselves. He predictably answers that they are too busy with their own stuff. Asya says she's also busy, to which Vadim says, "Doing what? Walking alone, looking at snow to hallucinate?" What? Why? Why did he say this? Why did she ever think that he wouldn't talk about it? Her classmates are reminded of the car repair shop incident in 5th grade. She was always weirder to them. Maybe she's like one of those quiet kids that might have even killed Ira herself.
Shut up!
Huh? Was that her own voice? Vadim is a little taken aback, but still gives the usual bullshit about all of this being a joke. He asks once again for the homework. This time, Asya refuses. Oh well, guess it's the entire bag then. She can't do anything about this, only pray for someone to show up. And even now she stops herself from even thinking about it. Not because the most important person in her life will no longer appear, no. It's because this is how it's meant to be. Any divergence will be calmed into a perfectly straight line. Vadim's actions were meant to send a message. Not from him, but from the universe. He might not see it, but Asya sees everything. His smirk, his eyes, his laughter, all of it feels a little forced. That slight hint of concern he showed back at the theater, it was something to be corrected. This isn't happening of his own accord, it's the universe's will returning everything to an equilibrium, to absolute. And he's none the wiser. But she sees this beauty with her own two eyes. It's so beautiful, it hurts. It's okay. Don't worry, Vadim, she says. He shows a sign of nervousness. About anything. His friends make a few more digs at her, but she now welcomes them. The signal grows stronger. Soon she'll fulfill her purpose. A bird flies past the window 3 times in a row. As you can see, as the game goes on, Asya's thoughts are diving more and more into the realm of cosmology and metaphysics. The more she suffers in the real world, the more she tries to disconnect herself from the immediate surroundings and justify things that are happening around her. It's a defense mechanism, probably one that she had developed after the car shop incident. And it's a unique one too, but not one that comes completely out of left field. Remember that sci-fi novel I mentioned? Asya read it so many times that if she had to recite its contents under threat of torture, she'd do it no problem. And think about how much time she used to spend at the library before the events of the game. She probably scoured the entire thing for science fiction stuff, and maybe read some actual studies relating to philosophy and the cosmos. What I'm saying is, the more reality beats Asya down, the more she tries to justify it with higher concepts and the cosmic will doing its thing. It's unsettling if you think about it. This kind of unnatural optimism, for me, sounds more like fanaticism. We'll soon learn that there's more to Asya's worldview than meets the eye, but for now, let's continue. Usually it's Marina who runs up to Asya after having talked with a bunch of friends, but now... Oof, girl, what happened to you? Was the window thing that serious? She's walking along the corridors like a ghost, and only snaps out of it once Asya calls to her. They have a very strained conversation. Marina is usually the chipper, more proactive one, but this time Asya has to lead, and so she opens with the worst topic imaginable. This girl is not exactly a smooth operator. Marina suggests they stop talking about Ira. Stop talking to each other. Period. She says she was stringing her along to help her delude herself into denying the obvious. If she and another person put their mind to believe in an obvious falsehood, then maybe it would become tangible. That Ira was with friends, or at school, or somewhere where she's okay. Marina ends up blaming herself for everything that had happened these past few days, and maybe even beyond that. And so, she's given up. Asya doesn't want to part with her, and still wants to be friends. I bet you do. She then warns Asya to not hang out with people like her and promptly leaves. In the last moment, however, Asya noticed something in Marina's eyes that she shouldn't have seen. Beyond the smiling mask, an unfathomable, depressing despair. Apparently, it's been there since forever. It all returns to its original form. She knew that this would happen, so why won't this ache go away? It must be the painful beauty of it all. She's overwhelmed. Everything falls back into place so gracefully that it's impossible to tear your eyes away. Starting from the end. Vadim's abnormal behavior started pretty late, but it got corrected rather quickly. Marina was talking to her almost every day, a very strong deviation. That's why her piece falling back into place caused a strong emotional reaction. So far so good. Then there's her. She was the first to come, she'll be the last to go. But how would that work? She's been gone for a long time already. There's nothing to comb. No, she must still exist somewhere in this world, dead or alive. As long as she exists in this world, this abnormality won't go away. So how can traces of her be removed? No way Asya would forget her. She will remember that poem she had written for her. She'll remember the prayers. She'll remember her until the day she dies. And after that... The message is still there, in the snow. Even if it's a bit shallow now. In the window there's no sign of a teddy bear. A simple message from the infinitely complex universe. She will be erased. Everything about Ira Grachevskaya will leave the world until there's only memory. Well then, a memory she'll be. She's looking straight at it. Her signal is not very strong, so her words may not be heard, but her intent will be felt. It may cleanse all the distortion on the planet Earth, It can erase everything and everyone else for good. That's part of why she loves it. But there's a hint of denial, a rebellion. It may be mad, but this won't change anything. She's just a pitiful, worthless gnat. She knows nothing she does matters. But for Ire, no, for herself, the memory of her won't fade. That's the one thing that won't change. It can swat her like a fly if it's so vicious. In any way, at any place, at any moment, erase her from this world. She's part of the problem, right? Now that Ira exists within her, there's no choice but to smite her. So do it. Please. Cleanse your body. Cleanse it of this filth. Heal. Let the world return to its axis. Make everything right. Take everything back. Make everything nice. Make everyone happy. I'm begging you. Please. 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 Please.
Do it, goddammit!
Her voice doesn't even echo between the buildings. Nobody pays any attention to it. And yet, she feels it. The signal has reached halfway. It made it past the densest layer. All that's left is to gather just a little more love. A little more gratitude. A little more warmth. A little more. Just a tiny bit more, and then you'll know. You'll know how much she really loves you. Asya tries calling Marina, but instead her brother Lev picks up. A strange series of dull, clinking noises come out from the other end. She's not feeling too well, so her brother offers to pass a message. Asya declines the offer and says her goodbyes, hanging up the phone. Someone is walking, feeling the solid ground underneath their boots. It is firm and solid, until it suddenly isn't. They're falling, like in a dream. You've probably had those at some point in your life, but why did you fall? The ground was there, and you were so cautious. You think it's not fair, not fair, not fair. It's not fair, damn it. Hey, someone's calling out to you, but you're still falling. It wasn't possible to save yourself from falling to begin with. Who are you kidding? You can't prevent a fall when there's no ground below you. An impact needs two objects. There are no two objects. It's all one object. It's one object. Everything in the world is only one object. You jolt and skitter away from someone who just touched your shoulder. It's a blurry image, an incomprehensible shape with no discernible features. It asks whether or not you can see it, its hair color, the number of fingers it's holding. It's getting closer, but you can't get up. Your hands sink into something. Your legs are like spaghetti. Why won't it go away? What does it want? You're maybe scared, maybe confused, maybe angry. You try to throw something at the shape to make it go away. It flies back right into your face. You spit out the dirty grass that you threw against the wind. The person in front of you laughs. What the hell is her problem? Wait, her. It's a girl's voice. You lift your head up, trying to shut her up with your frustrated comments. Well, it's not you. Okay, it's you watching from Ira's POV, but the text box said me, so it's kind of you. Look, it was supposed to be immersive, okay? Ira is still woozy and somewhat disoriented. She doesn't yet know who Marina is. She barely manages to stand up, using a garage wall as support while refusing Marina's help. She knows better than to accept something like that. However, there's no sign of pity in her eyes. It's weird. Apparently Marina followed her, but why? It's very unnatural for a girl to be here. That's why Ira sometimes hides here when she feels like an episode is coming on. Because there's nothing more she hates than being pitied. Marina tries to greet her properly by introducing herself and offering a handshake, but Ira refuses. You should though, she replies. Helps you stabilize, gripping something, feeling its texture. Good way to ground yourself. Though I guess you're touching that wall already. Ira is completely lost. She can't get a read on Marina. Isn't this the part where she's supposed to laugh and mock her? She even swears not to snitch, and offers to help Ira with the episodes. She vehemently refuses, but Marina mentions she's the same as Ira. She has the same condition and gets into similar cognitive states of confusion and helplessness. Maybe Ira even heard about her weird behavior back in middle school. She hasn't. This surprises Marina, maybe even more than you'd expect, but she suddenly gets so giggly and greets Ira like it's their first time seeing each other. Well, no matter, time to stand up. Never mind. Although Marina failed to save her from face planting, she helps her up and invites her to a cafe. A sweet treat, huh? Wait, no. Ira doesn't even know her. Why would this girl be so friendly with a stranger? She stumbles away from her, trying to shake this weird feeling off, but Marina lets out a frustrated yell. Do you want to get better or not? She tries to present the facts as they are. Ira won't get better, not unless she does something about it, and Marina is the one who can help her get better. No matter how Ira protested, she let herself get soft. She was set on letting her condition get worse until there was nothing to save. And despite that, on the day she met Marina, deep in her heart, hope reared its ugly head. It's another, more or less straightforward signal. Now we're directly shown what Ira's condition looks like. It has symptoms akin to delirium, accompanied with an intense brain fog of sorts. Not a medical professional, by the way. I'm probably, maybe, most certainly wrong here. What is apparent is that it feels like reality itself gives way under your feet. You slip away into the void, kind of like falling in a dream, as it gets pointed out at the beginning. It's the worst kind of condition for Ira, who seems like an independent girl who hates feeling helpless and despises being pitied. What's interesting is how she gets out of that state. Marina mentions that having something that has a distinct texture, temperature, and other features, like a human hand for example, can help you with the stabilization process. Notice how the scene happens behind rows of garages. Remember the scene where Ira and Asya met behind garages, and Ira was holding a thermos, probably with something warm inside. Yeah, she's still doing the stabilization thing solo, but at least she kept in mind her friend's advice. There's even a piece of art on Fairy's Twitter account showing Ira holding a thermos with a caption, "Ground yourself." Well, ain't that something. There are also some implications that suggest Ira and Marina knew each other before the events of Signal A, but that's a bit less concrete and not really important right now. It could just be that she's very excited to bond with another person who's suffering from a similar misfortune. Although there's a lot of insightful info in this flashback, we still do not know the exact nature of the disease Ira and Marina are afflicted with, and this is the last signal we'll get, so I suppose it's a mystery that, in time, will be resolved. December 25th. Marina called in sick. Asya's gathering information on her to pay her a visit. She is still wondering why the universe is letting her do this, define it like that without any punishment. She comes up to Vadim, who's hanging out with the boys outside. He's not exactly eager to talk right now, but Asya mentions the pills and he's immediately cooperative. You cannot imagine how hyped I was when the tables were turned on this waste of desk space. Asya just wants to ask for a home address, but Vadim is adamant that her visit won't change anything. He then reveals to her that those pills that Marina's brother is stealing from the lab, they're meant for her. Asya guessed as much from the conversation he and Marina were having way back then. Vadim then reveals that Marina doesn't even see her as a friend. He's sure that Marina was keeping Asya as someone to compare herself to in terms of being normal. Like how hot chicks always have that one ugly friend. You never change, do you? Asya doesn't believe him for a second and even questions his behavior. How can he be such an asshat towards someone who's been friends with him for a long time and even shared a good amount of the pills she's been splitting between herself and Ira? They're probably in limited supply and Vadim doesn't even pay for them. This provokes from him an irritated response, but then he reveals that the pills are not even that effective. His brother and father are suffering from the condition, and this medication barely even helps. What's even the point if it continues like this? He finally gives up the address and leaves with a pensive look on his face. Asya is still readying herself to be smited, but it never comes. She guesses that the situation may be unsalvageable at this point, but she still wants to see Marina, to talk to her. On the way, she grabs some cookies from the store and heads inside Marina's apartment building. She's heading up the stairs, still asking the universe whether what she's doing is something permissible in its eyes. She's already in front of the door, reaching for the doorbell. Still letting her do this? It's not too late. Perhaps back then, when Vadim said that Asya doesn't understand how people work, he was right. Maybe she really doesn't understand how the universe works. After a bit of time, some footsteps are heard. Marina opens the door. She looks very tired and guesses that Asya is here because their conversation didn't end too pleasantly. But no, she just cares for her friend who had fallen ill. Aww. She'll be back on her feet in a couple of days, doing cartwheels and teaching Asya to do the same. They'll have to tape a pillow to her head though. The talk is going very well, but this is the fake Marina Vadim was talking about. The front she's putting up. Nah, that fucker is lying. Her apartment is actually empty at the moment, so Asya asks if she can come over for some tea. Marina appreciates the offer, but then bursts into a coughing fit and tries to retreat back into the apartment to protect Asya from infecting her. Asya, however, gets her foot stuck between the door and the frame. How clumsy. This, though, bought her a few seconds to maybe convince Marina to let her in. After all, she really wanted to... That clinking. It could be heard through the phone as well. This girl is not alone here. Marina starts intensively coughing, much less subtly than before. She's sick, you see. She has to rest, you see. The door moves again, but Asya grabs it, trying to pull it open. She asks about the noise, and Marina gives a load of bullshit answers. There's a feeling in her gut. She has to come in. They fight for control until Marina lets go of the handle, making Asya tumble. The door then immediately closes. Desperation sets in. It mustn't end like this. She just wanted to talk, to see her smile, even brought her cookies. They could drink tea and talk. They could talk like they used to. It'll be the same. It will be even better. She pleads into the closed door, scared that she'll be left alone again. Scared that Marina will disappear from her life just like Ira did. Even if she strung her along or used her, even if she's real or not, it doesn't matter. She just wants to talk, no matter who the person inside the apartment actually is. She knows she's pathetic, begging like that she's arrogant, selfish, disgusting, repulsive, stubborn, stupid. It doesn't matter, but it's still so humiliating. Despite that, Asya continues trying to convince Marina to let her in, being as demeaning to herself as possible. Maybe this is all a test, a lesson to be learned. Maybe this will stop her from trying to deviate from the norm, but it's too late. You've already spoiled her rotten. There's nothing for her to lose now, only to push through. This scene is honestly too disturbing for me to continue describing in a normal way. It feels to me like an eternity passes while this goes on. Asya is still begging for Marina to open the door
Marina,
and to
please,
become
Marina,
her friend.
Please, Marina, please, Marina.
So you think I'm a nice person?
Of course.
And you wanna be my friend?
Yes. I really, really do.
Alright then, come in.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, be quiet. Get in.
Right. Sorry.
The same series of shallow but consistent clinking sounds can be heard inside, accompanied by the ticking of a clock. Asya hands Marina the cookies, wondering if it's a cat who's making those noises, according to Marina's earlier statement. She instead reminds Asya of that argument by the research institute and how she said it's easy to trust her. It's true, she does trust her, otherwise she wouldn't be standing here. Their eyes meet each other. Asya is unbothered by the darkness inside Marina. She's here, isn't she? I'll show you. The door opens. Marina walks in. Those sounds. It's a teaspoon tapping on the glass again and again. It all makes sense now. It's Ira, absentmindedly holding a spoon, unresponsive to anything. Her eyes are empty, her appearance barely kept together thanks to Marina. Asya is destroyed by this revelation. Trying to reach out to her, her knees buckle, but Marina catches her and guides her to the bed. She gives Asya some water and gently pats her head, just like she did at the community center. The room is littered with empty pill bottles, occupied by portable necessities. Everything here is for one person. Ira is slumped against the wall, the only signs of consciousness in her being the sounds of the glass. It's Morse code. Over time, she lost the ability to communicate, so she had to use the glass and the Morse code sheet to communicate. But now, the only thing she ever repeats is her name. Ira. She became like this on the day the group went to the cinema, when they tried to search for her at her apartment. Marina suggests they go to the kitchen and boil some tea. Asya is unwilling at first, but when she's told they'll drink it here, she reluctantly agrees. Marina prepares the kettle, now wearing the usual set of expressions. She mentions that she wasn't like this a couple of years ago, but Asya interrupts her, saying that she already knows this information from Vadim. Still, Marina elaborates about her illness. It is something akin to hypersensitivity, only it subjects a person to witnessing the code of the world, or, in other words, the secret inner workings of reality that are incomprehensible to the human mind. Usually, people are unaware of the code, but some people lack the barrier that prevents them from acknowledging it. They lack skin on their soul, as Marina puts it. It's like walking with constant X-ray vision that turns everything into numbers and values. If a human mind is subjected to this condition, it slowly starts to lose its grip not only on reality, but on itself, on its humanity. Because when a person realizes that they're just numbers, they will no longer consider themselves an individual. They're just a string in a larger program. Asya is not at all shaken by this. In fact, she understands every single concept that Marina has mentioned, only in her own interpretation. The reason why Marina can explain all this is because the Research Institute's true purpose is to study the code, the algorithm, and structural dynamics. If they can understand the building blocks of reality, they can foretell the future, or even change the world's values, essentially becoming gods. A very stupid idea, according to Asya. Any changes like this will not matter in the grand scheme of things, and will quickly revert back to the status quo. A closed system will maintain its stability. A human is not supposed to think about such things. It's not only dangerous to the mind, it's impudent, defiling something that's already perfect. We shouldn't know that a bird is despair, distortion, and denial. We're not meant to know everything in the world is inevitable. The kettle signals with its whistle that the water is boiling, and Asya wonders why would people lose their sense of humanity over being a part of a greater whole? It's something she doesn't quite get. It's Ira, again. Asya moves some of her hair from her face. She doesn't react to the touch. Those bright blue eyes don't have any light in them, but she's still here. Asya reaffirms this fact again and again, and still she has this horrible emptiness inside. The three of them sit at the table with everything prepared for tea drinking, even for Ira. Asya asks Marina why she doesn't take the glass away. Sorry, I couldn't take it away even if I wanted to. She then proceeds to chatter like it's nothing, commenting on how the cookies taste and how they all should go to Z.A.T.O one day and order some desserts, and how Ira is a big fan of sweets and smoking. Like, come on, take pity on your teeth. Smoking too? Who's gonna kiss you when you stink like that, huh? I'm kidding. Asya is not a fan of this pitiful display and interrupts it by questioning whether Ira will get better or not. Marina answers that she has to, but she won't be the same ever again. Her perception has been altered, and her behavior will be similar to how Marina behaves now. It's just that Marina learned how to fake it, how to put on a mask, and she has trouble taking it off. Otherwise, she'd forget how to properly behave around people. She lifts Ira's teacup to her mouth, carefully making her drink. Asya is in agony at this display. It's impossible to watch. The tea smell is the only pleasant thing about the situation. There was something she was going to do, something important. If you forgot, it probably didn't matter. No, if you forgot, it probably wasn't real. That doesn't make sense. It does. It's like a dream. Like a dream? Yes, exactly like a dream. You there? Someone's loopy today, huh? The girls are inside the Zvezdochka cafe, on one of their usual outings. Asya seemed a bit out of it there, but was returned to earth by Marina. She jokes about how she must have gone bar hopping at night, to which Ira remarks that they only have one bar. Is that really the thing that bothers her? Asya looks like she was caught, though apparently she was doing something much more embarrassing. Marina takes a guess and accuses Asya of reading romance novels all night. Ira doesn't find it incriminating in the slightest. After a bit more banter involving their favorite type of fantasy guy, like werewolves or vampires, Asya reveals that she was writing a poem. She's very flustered by this, but Ira encourages her by complimenting her previous work. What's the point of writing something if you won't let anyone read it? Well, Asya just enjoys making poems for the sake of it, but this time she was particularly inspired by something. That something is Ira. The mood shifts, the cafe becomes frozen in time. Now only the girls exist in this place. Ira is strangely quiet. Asya explains why and when she had written a poem and expresses her worry that it may be a weird thing to do without asking. Despite that, Marina reassures her that it's fine and is a cute thing to do. Asya then reads out the poem out loud.
Черный день разлился кляксой по паркету, по плите. Раззадоренная масса мажет руки в темноте. Спички чиркают о фосфор, дым ложится на ладонь. Выгорает запах газа, и в ушах трещит огонь. Как тепло, светло и мило, хоть на коже холодок. Это добрая картина, хоть висит наискосок.
It's Marina's first time hearing her poetry. She likes it, even if it's a bit more aggressive than she expected. However, it doesn't take long for Asya to notice something. The room is now quiet. You could hear the usual little sounds, like the clock ticking or Marina's movements, but the tapping has stopped. It's Ira. For real this time. Her eyes are now drawn directly towards Asya. Marina immediately stands up because of this, and there's the tiniest of reactions coming from Ira, but her attention has been grabbed by someone else who's in front of her. She's trying to see that person. Marina, in a panicked state, calls out to her again and again, attempting to bring her to her senses, putting a Morse sheet on the table in front of her. But Asya can't look away from her. She sees Ira's tiny hand movements, twitching, maybe attempting to grab onto something that would ground her, would save her from the dark place she's in right now. Marina falls to the floor, searching for some leftover pills in a sea of scattered bottles. Asya grabs Ira's hand. Her fingers soon stop twitching, and her eyes now have their light returned to them. She sees Asya, and Asya sees her. Ira is here. She has found a way out. Marina finally finds a pill and turns around. She's frozen in place, recognizing the situation. This is everything that Asya had prayed for. All this time, through the course of the story, she wished to not only see Ira one more time, but to also be seen by her. to be recognized by the one person she proclaimed to be the most precious in the whole wide world. One that couldn't be replaced by anyone. Someone who was the biggest reason why she is filled with so much love. And all of the things that had happened so far, every challenge that the universe had thrown her way, it was all worth it to express a message of sincerest gratitude.
Thank you so much.
Have you noticed any changes in how you perceive time or space?
No.
Are you experiencing any unusual patterns in your thoughts or dreams?
No.
Do you ever feel like you're watching yourself from outside your own body?
No.
Have you found yourself remembering things that didn't happen to you?
No.
Have you seen anything lately that no one else seemed to notice?
No.
Are you being honest with me?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any places, people, or ideas you're fixated on lately?
Yes.
Can you name them?
Ira, sending my message to the universe.
What message?
A love confession.
A love confession?
Yes. I will confess my love to the world. I'm very close to achieving the right signal strength.
Signal strength? Are you using a radio?
No, I don't need one. My will is enough.
I see. Let's continue then. Does the world around you feel balanced, or like it's trying to become balanced?
Yes.
Why do you feel that?
Isn't it obvious?
Please elaborate.
Tired from this prolonged questioning session, Asya explains that Ira was erased due to the universe correcting itself. She's been piling up too many irregularities, changing predetermined fates of numerous people, resulting in the outbreak of abnormal events. Ira had to be assimilated before she caused any more damage. Marina is sitting in the corner, expressionless. Before that, she collapsed right after Ira vanished. That's the state Lev found his little sister in, along with Asya, who he decided to interrogate due to her unusually calm behavior. And because he actually knows her a little, Lev corrects Asya's hypothesis by telling her that yes, reality is self-correcting, but Ira is not the main cause of it. She's been under threat for some time, but the recent events only accelerated her decay. They were only delaying the inevitable with medicine. Asya wants to know the exact nature of those pills, and Lev obliges by describing them as downers or depressants. Their purpose is to dull pattern recognition and placate emotional responses. They won't make you forget what you've already noticed in the code, only lower the chances of your mind spotting new patterns, as well as reduce stress from observing them. The problem is that they also limit the ability to experience any extreme emotion at all. No despair, but also no intense joy. Combined with the changed brain chemistry of a person who was subjected to the code, those side effects can result in something that we have seen in Marina just prior. Another reason why Ira stopped taking the pills is because she felt like she was going blind, not being able to see the truth of the world. Asya wonders if the effects of assimilation into the universe really are irreversible, because they were able to bring Ira back, even though it was just for a moment. Lev doubts this, saying that what Asya perceived might not have been the objective reality. He suspects that Asya might also possess a level of code sensitivity, but for some reason she doesn't suffer from negative effects. This might have something to do with her propensity to indulge in delusions, which is a common case among those who have the condition, though whether they can manifest something called distortions varies on a case-by-case basis. Lev even mentions that her answers, based on a rather lengthy questionnaire, don't exactly align with the recorded events, particularly those that concern Asya's childhood. Memory gaps can be a reason for these, but another explanation could be that she views reality so differently that some of her beliefs do not align with the current understanding of the phenomena that is taking place. Asya realizes that Lev's observations put into question something that is very important to her, so she is in disbelief and frankly denies his words. With all due respect, of course. That's when Marina comes to the rescue and corroborates her testimony with her own account of the events. Lev suspects that his sister's symptoms are making a return. She objects, saying she's not delusional and cannot manifest the distortions, at least to that degree. This must be referring to that time she misplaced the book. This means that she wished for the book to appear in Ira's apartment, making it disappear from her bag. Maybe Ira was onto something. Maybe I should stop taking this crap. Lev warns her to not even think about it and casually pops a pill. He continues by stating that Ira is pretty insignificant in a grand scheme of things. In comparison, the research center has been causing distortions that encompass Vorkota 5's entire area, meaning that the whole city will be subject to correction. Every single person will soon contract symptoms of code sensitivity and shall be subsequently assimilated into the universe. The town is facing its inevitable end. But they can make it easier on themselves. Lev slides a pill bottle across the table and suggests Asya or her parents take them. She doesn't think that dissipating into the greater stream is a bad thing, so she's not willing to take them for herself. And her parents may have already... Lev insists, and so she takes them anyway. Before leaving, Asya asks why they've kept Ira alive for so long if they knew this was going to happen. Wouldn't you? Yes, I would. Asya rethinks everything about the universe's behavior. It doesn't care about every little transgression people make. Her little rebellion in the end was inconsequential. This is no different from the barrage of insults she hurls at herself. It's all white noise. It's all just pinpricks. Only something truly unforgivable needs to be erased. And that's the research center. It contaminates everything around it, making the whole city impure and infected. It's not a pinprick. It's an open wound. One that is healing. Thank goodness. And yet, Asya still wants to stay in the city just a bit more. Let everyone enjoy their last days. She wants to gather just a bit more love. Her signal is almost ready to be sent. It's a preposterous request, considering everything it had done for her. But it's the last thing she will ever ask of it. Please listen to her message. Oh, you cannot believe how good it feels to be free. At last, I can answer every single question in this game. Well, okay, not exactly every single one. We still have episode 3 in front of us, but don't worry, it's not nearly as long as the previous one. And to get the obvious out of the way, I may be terribly wrong about everything, especially about less concrete aspects like character analysis and some abstract things in the game. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm just a guy who spent an unhealthy amount of time on analyzing a 7 to 8 hour visual novel about a schizo whose girlfriend has been erased from existence. Anyway, the most common question I've seen from people who have just finished the game is, what the fuck just happened? And indeed, what the fuck? The story took a bit of a sudden swerve into almost full-on sci-fi. Sure, Asya's thoughts were a little out there, that's a common trait among Denpa protagonists. But a whole city being erased due to scientists trying to play God, and people being able to seemingly manipulate reality through their delusions? This all kind of comes out of the blue, no? Well, somewhat, yeah. It's supposed to be a shocking revelation for players who've been against Asya's viewpoint on the nature of the universe. Maybe it's even surprising for those who do agree with her. The thing is, as is the norm with good mystery stories, the signs were there all along. The one moment that could tip off some players that something is not right is the book disappearance scene, and it's a book called On the Stability of Closed Systems no less. The game tries to present it as a silly mistake, but one line from Marina reveals to us that this is not something that we should forget. Another hint is the prevalence of sci-fi as a genre of media in the story. It's very much deliberate that the first book Asya picks up in the library is 100 years ahead. It serves as a possible explanation for her cosmic inclinations and gives a mention of Tosa, who we still haven't seen. And don't worry about it, we'll get to Tosa and who she is later. The biggest piece of foreshadowing, however, is the book Asya recommended to Ira, The Plague. In case you forgot, it's about a town that is suffering from a bubonic plague, which results in deaths of countless people. The novel follows a group of characters who cope with the inevitable disaster in a variety of ways. Some hope to profit from it, some lose all hope, and some seek salvation in Christianity. In the end, everyone is equal before the chaotic whims of reality. There's no point in looking for reason inside the absurd. A human can only gather his willpower and carve out his own meaning in the universe. The plot is very much reflective of the future happenings in Vorkuta 5, even though their roles are somewhat reversed. This time, the disease comes from the people themselves, and it's the universe's job to correct this irregularity, and in everyone's lives in the process. The book has a lot of parallels with Z.A.T.O, both in story and themes. It's immediately apparent to those who've read it, I think. Although I could list even more similarities, this would take quite a bit of time and would pretty much derail this analysis, I think. Just know that almost everything that pertains to code assimilation and how people react to it can be compared to the plague and its characters. Speaking of the code, what's up with that? Are we really going the route of, ooh, it's all been a video game all along and we're gonna do some spooky fourth wall breaks? Well, kind of, if you look at it from a certain very skewed and cynical angle. There is a possibility that characters are talking about straight up game code, not too dissimilar to games that explicitly include code or game file manipulation into their narratives. In my opinion though, this possibility is very slim. Not only because there won't be any creepy conversations with the player or something, but also because we don't actually know the exact nature of this universe's code. We do have some possible examples though. In that image I showed you earlier, where Ira is holding a thermos, there is some text on the sides. It's the code that she's been seeing all this time. It shows several objects that Ira is having contact with, like the dress she's wearing and the ground she's standing on, as well as their coordinates, stability and probability. Not sure what to make of those exactly, but we have several concrete values that we can go off of. First, the ground has a 000.00 coordinate, which implies that it's kind of a starting value. It's easier for me to think that the coordinates represent the Cartesian coordinate system, but we do not know for sure. I also assume this represents the positions of the first point of impact Ira is making with an object, and not necessarily the position of objects themselves. Second, the thermos is the most stable object out of all of them, making the data request for its properties successful. Also, it's filled with hot water, not your soup. Sorry, Asya. Third, a data request provides additional information about an object, like its texture, temperature, material, and so on. They also have these weird values, Tn, dp, dt. They could mean several things. I like to think they represent amount, pressure, and time. They could also mean something like decinewton, diploma program, double time score in OSU, anything really. Sorry, editing window here. I was overthinking here. These values are probably just denial, despair, and distortion. I'll talk about them a little bit later though. Another source of code is in the intro that plays when you boot up the game. Arguably the first instance is when strings of seemingly random numbers are being shown, which are just words from the intro but encoded in the A1Z26 cipher. This could mean that written or spoken text is shown like that when it's read by the universe. Or it could mean something else. It's unclear since this cipher is used only in the intro, as far as I'm aware. A more interesting occurrence of code is when we're shown black and white character sprites with blank faces. In the top left, we can see a characters.obj file being added, obj being a file format for storing 3D geometry. At least this proves that they're not two-dimensional PNGs in the universe. What's weird is that Asya is not even defined. Weird question marks start appearing, like there's something wrong here. An undefined object. This can entail one of two things. Either her internal thoughts are so contradictory to reality and herself that she's experiencing an identity crisis, one that she's not even fully aware of. or the universe literally cannot define her, meaning she's the biggest anomaly there is. There's also a secret third option linked with a secret character, but I'm not gonna mention this one, you can figure this out by yourself. Something more relevant to the code itself is the information in the bottom right corner, consisting of 2 lines. The first line defines a face, maybe in reference to how character sprite sheets have dozens of facial expressions, but only a couple of poses. This can also have a deeper meaning, as we see the same lines of code in the car repair scene, only they're flipped. They also appear in the shot with some cracks, shots where Marina and Ira are falling, and the shot with Asya and her shadow lying next to each other. Notably, this is the only instance where this type of code appears in dark purple, though I suspect this was done more to fit the aesthetic of the composition, rather than to underline some kind of meaning. The second line features 7-digit numbers, followed by words despair, distortion, denial. These words are ever present in scenes involving the code, and are even acknowledged by Marina in bold text. But what do they mean exactly? Okay, this might sound a little underwhelming, maybe even funny. They're part of a 4chan copypasta taken from their paranormal board called X. I guess the Tunguska alien landing is not the only outlandish thing in this novel, and honestly, that's par for the course. Mystery novels are rife with conspiracy theories, especially if they're of the Denpa variety, and this is no different. The particular sequence of numbers and words that Marina mentions are part of the universal function codes, which are more commonly known as the despair code. Basically, it's hypnosis via programming. Illuminati type shit. Actually, it's directly taken from a book by Fritz Springmeier and Siskel Wheeler called The Illuminati Formula to Create an Undetectable Total Mind Control Slave. Alright, I'm pretty sure we're digging a little too deep here. And do not search this book up. You will regret it. It is fucked up and evil. And okay, of course, we can take the shadow government approach or whatever to decipher Z.A.T.O's narrative. But let's take a look at other interpretation of despair codes that were floating around at the time. Some users believed that these codes constitute the invisible fabric of reality, which, if seen, will gradually start to erode an unprepared mind, something akin to witnessing a creature of Lovecraftian myth. Other users thought that seeing the despair code will make your mind experience psychosis, which will result in unlocking the power of insanity. One user writes, "The despair code is a name for something that constitutes the inversion of the good in a Platonic sense. In traditional societies, the despair code is represented by things like the Leviathan and Angra Mainyu. The despair code runs through everything because it is everything in the world itself as it appears to be. The experience of psychosis is unavoidable when trying to understand this concept, because our psychology is built around understanding ourselves as a unified person. Contemplating that I am not what I am, meaning that you as a subject are not your body, not your thoughts, not anything external, means that everything external starts to appear disassociated from you. Now, because our psychology is so closely tied to our ontological conceptions, once the illusion starts becoming obvious, you cannot avoid terrifying experiences. Ghosts, aliens, etc. are all real, because the mind makes them as real as anything could be. Eventually, if you don't stop, you'll find what you're looking for. The Leviathan. Try to be ready." Another person comments, "Nothing exists together, because everything exists in its own way. The despair code is the only force that holds everything together and is the true universe, if there is one. Everything that we comprehend as humans is not the true world. It's impossible to understand this concept without experiencing psychosis, because we would be telling ourselves that I am not what I am. Once we go insane trying to find this code, we can only get worse. Everything is real in its own way. Once you truly see it, it only gets worse. Once you see that the mind can make everything real and is everything, you cannot help going insane with unlocking the power and insanity of yourself. Everything is against you." A lot of the described phenomena have several similarities to code sensitivity of characters in Z.A.T.O. One must wonder if Fairy really did take these concepts from conspiracy boards, or it all just came to her in a dream. Regardless, I myself am not a fan of applying all this tinfoil hat theory onto the in-game code directly. The explanation that is given within the narrative is much more believable to me than "you look at number, you go crazy," something. But the idea behind the spare codes can definitely be seen in the overall effect code sensitivity has on people in the game. You see things that you're not supposed to see, and your mind interprets them as real. You lose grasp on what is real and what is not, because everything is as real as your mind makes it out to be. But in our case, those things are real, and if they're not, then you can just will them into existence. You just have to believe in it. Oh, and the last instance of code is at the end of the intro, when it shows some actual lines from what I assume is the C# programming language. I'm not at all familiar with coding, but I've asked some people and most of them agree that it's this. However, I do not know what to make of this information, since Z.A.T.O was made using RenPy, which is a visual novel engine implemented in Python. The images are most likely random code pulled from somewhere, though you can try to look the meaning in there through all the visual noise. I'll just assume it's nothing more but another instance of foreshadowing what the game is about, and move on. Now, we've reached the point in the story where we can finally discuss what's the deal with every single major character. Aside from Asya, the game is still not done with her. I'll describe them individually and discuss their personality traits, their actions throughout the story, and how they tie into this whole thing. Again, reminder, don't take my words as gospel. I'm just a guy who's trying to look deeper into characters while having no expertise in writing or storytelling. My guesses are as good as yours. Anyway, here are my thoughts about the students of Vorkuta 5. Marina is perhaps the most complex one out of the three, despite us spending most of our time getting to know her. She's an upperclassman, which at times is not exactly evident due to her outward personality traits. Her attitude is chipper and teasing, often getting on the nerves of no-nonsense people like Ira or some of the adults. She's very adept at making friends with her peers, which cannot be said about the grown-ups. Adding in the fact that her grades are in the gutter, we can assume that she's being viewed as a bad influence by both teachers and parents. We don't even know where her own parents are, only her brother. The small community of Vorkuta 5 may even be of the opinion that Marina's parents didn't want her and pawned her off to be cared for by a sibling. This kind of reputation could lead to a person developing a cynical view of the world, understandably, especially if something like that happens at a young age. And then we throw her code sensitivity into the mix. We've learned in signals A and B that she had symptoms of this condition ever since middle school. No one was there to help her, except for her brother Lev, who at some point managed to alleviate the illness and maybe even gave support to Marina so that she could reintegrate into society after suffering from the side effects of pills sent seen for reality. The situation she found herself in the past is eerily similar to what Ira has been experiencing. Irregular behavior caused by phenomena that you cannot understand, leading to being misunderstood and isolated. It's not surprising that Marina in particular noticed Ira's truant tendencies and connected two and two together. I'd imagine she felt elated to finally see a person her age who understands what she's been going through, and also obligated to help her in any way she can. Marina was very fortunate to have a relative who works in the institute, while Ira has been struggling alone for a long time. It's this desire to help a person in exchange for sharing the burden of unwanted and forbidden knowledge that sparks an unbreakable friendship between the two. During the latter half of episode 2, Asya finally sees who Marina really is. A broken girl, held up only by her facade of feigned optimism. A placid despair stays within. She's not exactly keeping up appearances for her sake. From her perspective, there's no point in doing that anymore. At school, her look is now much more loose and tired, and she stops hanging out with her background friends. After that day at the cinema, Ira became unresponsive, and because of that, Marina had lost the only support that kept her going. Sure, there was Asya, a so-called replacement, but Marina didn't want to involve her anymore, maybe fearing that she would meet the same fate, or maybe because she thought there was no point to it anymore. And yes, Asya was an anchor that kept Marina sane. You need one when your best friend is slowly deteriorating in your bedroom. At various points in the game, Marina's low self-respect rears its ugly head in the dialogue. She doesn't view herself as a good person for one reason or another. She sees her actions as self-serving when she strings along Asya on a wild goose chase, thinking that by indulging in wishful thinking, she can manifest the reality of Ira being alright. Or something. If it wasn't that, then I'm not sure what her practical goal was. At the very least, it helps distract her from the reality that is staring at her every day she wakes up. That what's happening to Ira is inevitable and that she had failed in saving her friend. Another thing that contributes to Marina's self-deprecation is how she seemingly lost her humanity, in the sense that she can no longer feel what others feel. All this time, she showed herself as someone who's completely different to who she actually is. She effectively had to lie for a long period of her teenage life, acting as not herself, but as Marina, the loving, goofy, caring, humorous girl and a 9th grade student of Rokuta 5's local school. Her mannerisms, hobbies, friends, the image she built for society to stop treating her like a freak show, all of it is fake. And it's not like she wants it to be this way, it's just she cannot be genuine about it. Well, that's how Marina sees it anyway. From Asya's perspective, what she's doing cannot be proof that she doesn't have emotions. All these times, when she had fun with Asya, when she continued to care for Ira, when she interrupts the interrogation because she cares for her friend, it's all contradictory to the notion that she lost all her emotions. Those things cannot be faked, because if they were, Marina would have behaved much differently, especially after Ira got erased. She wouldn't have even responded to Lev. There would be no reason to. It's all like an American film, an exquisite lie, one that even the filmmakers start to believe. But can such a lie become reality if you believe in it hard enough? Can something that was false at first turn into an objective truth? That's one of the questions Z.A.T.O poses, and I think every character has a different answer to it. Vadim. Oh, Vadim. I know I've been hard on you before, and, it was completely deserved.
Help me!
But it's not because he's been a jerk all his life. Well, okay, we can't know that for sure. Maybe Marina is misremembering some things. Oh, he was such a good boy. How could he turn into an unruly delinquent? Back in my day, I wouldn't even imagine. In any case, there's not much to talk about Vadim. He originally wasn't meant to play a huge role. Hell, at first Fair didn't even plan on making any sprites for him to begin with. But as the story became more fleshed out, his unpleasant presence was more and more necessary. When taking all of this into account, it's understandable that most of the game he appears to be one note, a smug bully dispensing cruel reality onto our main character. And he mainly serves that one purpose. It's apparent, however, that in the later events, he shows he has some semblance of a decent human being inside of this nonchalant exterior. He hangs out with the girls, being a bit less of a prick towards Asya, but still quarreling with Marina as part of their banter. He then shows concern when Asya loses consciousness during the movie, even offers a drink. What a gentleman. Perhaps he's not such a bad guy after all. On at school, he starts behaving as usual, throwing tasteless jokes around with his buddies. Everything returns to absolute. Or does it? See, Vadim's behavior is like this mainly when he's with his classmates, or when he's ready to beat the shit out of someone. During that day with Marina and Asya, his attitude was a little more mild than usual. You'd think he would be less friendly, given his track record, unless he behaves like this, when he's not around his friend group, or when he doesn't need to put up a strong front. Peer pressure is definitely a factor when trying to understand Vadim's actions. He needs to serve his role as the leader of the group, or at least as someone who's dominant in any situation he's in. I guess you could call it toxic masculinity, though the term is so butchered I'm struggling to even say it. The point is, his character is largely influenced by outside factors. He has to appear as someone strong, even if it means picking on a lonely girl. Doesn't excuse him in the slightest, but there's still more to this. Remember how he mentioned that his dad and brother are afflicted with code sensitivity? The fact that Vadim's male role models have fallen ill and have to be supplied with medication puts him in a situation where he is the only capable man in his family. It's a duty where one must appear strong and reliable. And this heavy responsibility is fallen on a boy who barely hit puberty. Imagine how a kid must feel when his family suddenly falls prey to an incurable disease, and now he has to be the one who has to keep everything together alongside his mother. When put in this predicament, Vadim had to quickly toughen up and conceal any weakness he still had left, otherwise everything around him would collapse even faster. It's only when begging Marina for the pills where he becomes emotionally vulnerable. He has to throw away his pride and all the bad blood they've had between each other to sincerely ask for help. Even in front of Asya, he quickly puts up the front once he realizes he's become emotional. This may also be representative of the struggle that many men can relate to, keeping up their stoicism, showing strength and value, and not allowing themselves to be open emotionally, lest they're deemed weak and unstable by people around them. Whether that's done for one's social standing or to become a man who can be relied on by others is up to the individual. Of course, the way Vadim goes about it is all wrong, to say the least, but at least we can understand what factors were at play that made him who he is in Z.A.T.O. Was his unsightly character largely shaped by the environment and circumstances? Or was he always such an asshole? Was evil an inherent part of him? Or is it a consequence of his other emotions that he's too afraid to show? Those are also some of the questions asked by the game. Now here's the real question. Is Vadim literally Hitler? Ira might be the simplest and at the same time the most important character in the story. She's the catalyst by which the events of the story get set in motion. The first person to have a positive relationship with Asya after her best friend got separated from her. She, like many others, also puts up a front, tries to look independent and, as a result, strong. A common trait that she shares with Vadim. Her circumstances, on the other hand, are the same as Marina's. Poor reputation, unfavorable relations with adults, and a disease that they barely understand. In Ira's case, however, there was nothing to hang on to. No savior, no cure, no one that she could talk to. Ira has that stubbornness and pride that she hangs on to, hating the feeling of helplessness that comes with her episodes, loathing when people pity her. It's a common feeling among people, especially teenagers who want to establish their independence. And that feeling is what's keeping her from reaching out and actually solving her issues. Until Marina comes in, of course. The friendship they establish after this encounter is much more important to them than they both would like to admit. Because Marina hates herself too much to view herself as a friend, while Ira is a bit tsundere about it. Still, self-inflicted loneliness, induced by the sheer hopelessness of her situation, is something that would have destroyed Ira sooner or later. Actually, the same can be said about Asya. After the incident, she's been relentlessly bullied for being weird and weak, either not having the courage to stand up for herself, or not even seeing the point of doing so because of her worldview. In this scenario, it's Ira who's the savior. Her feelings of compassion, which until then have been dulled by the pills, have slowly started to come back. That's why it's such an unexpected event for everyone involved. Ira's actions were so seemingly uncharacteristic of her only because people remembered her only as someone who often skips classes, nothing more. Throwing a chair across the class would be quite shocking, especially if it's done by a girl. Her hearing Asya's poems from Vadim's dirty mouth have only further awakened the dormant emotions within her. Knowing that, it's no wonder that when it was Asya's turn to save her, it was her poetry that brought Ira back to the real world, even if it was only for a second. And yet, why exactly would she stop taking the pills? They've helped Marina appear normal to everyone. There's no practical reason to reject them if you want to continue living an ordinary life. Ira's rationale, according to the Kaplan household, was that losing not only your emotions, but the ability to perceive the world as it is ultimately not worth it. Emotions are a part of your humanity, and losing them is like losing your heart, or even your soul. And when it comes to seeing the truth, I think Asya comparing Ira to a bodhisattva in episode 1 wasn't without importance. Seeing the inner workings of reality can be interpreted as gaining some kind of otherworldly knowledge, in other words, enlightenment. And I'm not saying Ira is some kind of saint or anything, though she could be in the eyes of Asya. I'm saying that if we look at who a bodhisattva is, it boils down to a person who helps others while depriving themselves of higher status or luxury. It's a monumental act of selflessness. One that Ira parallels by rejecting the medicine that would give her an easier time and instead choosing a more difficult path, ruining her reputation just to help an unfortunate girl. I think she really would throw 100 chairs at 100 Vadims if she had to. It puts into perspective the compassion she has in her heart for Asya, even if she refuses to admit it. At the end of the day, we have to remember that these characters are just, 14, 15 years old. They're only kids who know quite a lot about the world they live in, but are still struggling with their own emotions, morality, and relationships with other people. At times, their actions might not make sense or lead to the best outcome. Some may even be actively harmful to themselves or others. But that's just how growing up works, how people in general work. These characters are so great precisely because they're so believable in their behavior. They chat about unimportant stuff, they have fun, cause mischief, laugh, and cry. All the little things that I've skipped in my video are perhaps the most important when it comes to immersing yourself in their conversations. I've come to really appreciate them in my time reading this novel. Yes, even you. And even the character we've yet to talk about. But that'll come a bit later. Welcome to the Theory Corner. Here we'll be answering all the questions I couldn't fit into any other section, so they're getting dumped here. There will be no order to them because I can't be bothered and this video is too long anyway. Let us begin. What's the deal with the birds? Over the course of the game, when Asya sits in a classroom, sometimes a bird flies past the window. At one point, it flies past 3 times in a row. The intro also mentions the same sentence. So what does this mean exactly? I don't know.
You don't fucking know.
This bird thing is just too vague to have any concrete answers on, at least for my feeble canine mind. There are some interpretations we can apply here though. First, and this is the most common one that I've seen people mention, is that the bird is somehow connected to the code and Asya's perception of it. As the plot progresses, the bird is seen more often and flies by several times. In a later scene from episode 3, it will go around so many times that Asya won't be able to count them. This suggests that it's an instance of distortion, signifying the rate at which reality around Vorkuta 5 is degrading. This is somewhat supported by Lev, mentioning how Asya must have seen several cases of distortions already. Even Marina defines a bird using code. No way this is a coincidence, right? Perhaps, but we can go further than that. 2 of our characters already have some sort of connection to birds. The first one being Asya. In that cafe scene with Marina, she gets them 2 types of dessert, a kartoshka and a bird's milk. The latter being something Marina thought would suit Asya. It could be that she genuinely thought that, cause, well, she does look kinda like a bird's milk type of person, but we shouldn't forget that Marina had X-ray vision of the code for some time, and her perception is altered in a way we cannot know. So she may have seen something in Asya that connects her to this whole bird thing. It's admittedly a stretch, but hey, the game is vague enough to the point that such theories are a possibility, I think. The second character I want to mention is Ira. Her surname, in particular, Grachevskaya, references a certain type of raven. Grach is the name in Russian, but you may know it as a rook. Just like any raven, they symbolize bad omens, death, wisdom, and change. If we assume that this particular bird is a rook, then the messaging of the town's decay is becoming even stronger. There may be a relation specifically to Ira, since this bird often appears after Asya's inner deliberations, where she wishes to see Ira, perhaps even manifesting the bird as a result. Very unlikely, but we gotta keep the Yuri agenda going. The parents. It's a pretty broad topic, so I've included here the family situation of every main character. We know that Ira lives with her parents and a little brother, whose name is Tolik. One of the parents works in a hospital, while the other is employed in a research institute. It's weird, however, that Ira seemingly decided to misdirect Asya by telling her it's her mother who's working at the institute, which contradicts Marina's future statement. I'm not sure what she was trying to accomplish there. I could give several explanations, but they'd be just speculation and have no concrete basis. For now, we'll trust Marina on this one and say that it's Ira's father who works in the institute. Moving on to Asya, we know almost nothing about her parents. I assume that her mother is a stay-at-home kind of person. Her father, on the other hand, must hold at least some kind of job. Asya says as much, how he must be always tired from work and that she needs to avoid bothering him. Fortunately, we can find a little hint in her conversation with her dad about Ira and her father. You know Ira's dad? Did you see him yesterday? No, we're not acquainted. I don't think he came into work. Now, why would he say that? Sure, he doesn't know Ira's dad, that's understandable, but why would he know whether he came into work or not? He could be told about it by his co-workers or the police, sure, or it could just be that Asya's father also works in the institute. This is even supported by one of his next lines. A few of my colleagues went in for questioning. Why would his colleagues be questioned? It only makes sense if they knew something about Ira's father, and that is very much possible if they directly worked with him in the institute, which in turn proves that Asya's father also works there, since they're his colleagues too. Now, why is this important? What good does it do to us to know about the occupations of a character's parents? Well, you've probably already noticed it. Asya, Ira, and Marina all possess code sensitivity. Asya's and Ira's fathers both worked at the Institute as colleagues, and Marina's brother is knee-deep in the research on structural dynamics, which is proven by his access to pattern-suppressant medicine. They were all already majorly involved in the Institute's business. The only odd one out is Vadim, which is fitting for a character whose presence wasn't really necessitated at the beginning. And even his family didn't get off scot-free, though their symptoms have started appearing only around the start of episode 2, while the girls have been suffering from them for years. What the hell happened in jammed Signal C? For some, the answer may be kinda obvious. Signal C shows what happened to Asya 3 years ago at the repair shop. Well, yes and no. At first glance, everything fits this narrative. Asya experiences a mental breakdown in front of the shop while trying to look through the window. The game cuts to someone in a dark place, surrounded by the smell of oil and dust, touching dirty metallic surfaces. It definitely feels like a place where one would repair machinery. It's even got a heavy wrench, thanks to which this person is able to break the window and see someone whose name ends with Sa. You'd assume this refers to Tosia, that one friend Asya got separated from. And you'd be correct if in this scenario it was actually Asya who got locked in the shop. See, there's this little piece of evidence right here, a couple of dialogue lines that are almost unrecognizable beyond a couple of letters and words. You may have noticed them appearing in the intro as well. In fact, the first part of the intro quotes only sentences from Signal C. So, what do they mean? Like, come on, take pity on your teeth. Smoking too? Who's gonna kiss you when you stink like that, huh? I'm kidding. This has been said by Marina during that apartment scene when they were drinking tea with Asya. Jammed Signal C was happening right when Asya got through to Ira using her poem. Or rather, the poem was the window that had appeared, what was interpreted as get out by her mind. And the thing that actually got her out was Asya's touch. This has all been a large metaphor for Ira's sensory deprivation, her pitch-black prison where she couldn't see nor hear. Only a poem dedicated to Ira, one that's filled with all the love Asya had to give, could get through to her. And only her touch could ground her so that she could see the girl that's been trying to save her all this time. Beautiful. The scene is framed in such a way that it applies both to Ira and Asya at the same time. It's an ingenious way of showcasing how intertwined both characters are in their most miserable moments. How all the supposed coincidences and similarities they had all get pretty much confirmed and subtly explained by this one scene. Now I can see why the Steam store page has an LGBTQ+ tag. And here I thought it was thanks to Vadim's bigotry. Sorry dude, but in the end, love always wins. There's still a lot I can speculate and theorize on. The game is full of little things that you can notice on subsequent playthroughs. I've only just scratched the surface level of characterization and provided a few of my takes on what's going on. And we haven't even finished the game yet. I guess this means that I have a lot to say about it, and yet I still wouldn't do justice to this work of art. So I think it's best we continue onwards and move on from theories, and finally learn about the universal message of Z.A.T.O. A day is inherently good. That's why it's silly to say the phrase, today is a good day, to someone. Kinda makes it a tautology, like close proximity and end result. Even if you feel down, even if you miss someone dearly, even if everything around you is changing in a way you fail to understand, today is a good day. But for Asya, tomorrow will be even better. Tomorrow, from 10:30 to 11 o'clock, the sun will rise, the polar night will end, and she will be where she needs to be. The background classmates start repeating phrases we've already heard before. Are they all just a memory, or is it really happening? Either way, Asya is no longer affected by them. She doesn't respond to outside influences anymore, only ponders the vastness of the tundra, how the sky is only as high as the highest point in the city. She feels the wood of the chair beneath her. She's Asya. Asya is her name. It's been only 2 days since she visited Marina's apartment. Time has been out of whack for a while now. Reality shifts in unnatural ways. Shadows and light come from the wrong sides, memories replay themselves in different orders. But it's alright. Everything is falling into place. Outside, kids are throwing snowballs at nothing. Surroundings are illuminated in blue. Around the corner, Vadim and Marina are smoking. Marina doesn't talk anymore. Asya offers a pill bottle to Vadim, which he takes. He then swallows 2 pills and tries to give one to Marina. She slaps his hand away in return, maybe having already surrendered to the situation. Or maybe as an act of respect towards Ira, having decided to follow her judgment of rejecting the medicine. Either way, the girls hug each other, Marina petting Asya's head like she did every time she tried to comfort her in the past. It's okay. It's okay. Asya returns to her apartment. She is standing in front of the entrance to the living room. The door leading into it is half ajar. Her father's shadow is visible thanks to the TV's glow. Her mother is nowhere to be seen. She was looking for her husband yesterday, but Asya didn't tell her. Today, she crawled out of her bed towards the noise, towards the living room. Asya calls out to her mother, but no answer follows. She should enter the living room. She should come in and talk to her, and yet... It's okay. Sunrise is tomorrow. She's Asya. Tomorrow is gonna be the best day of her life. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Her eyes snap open. It's already morning. She didn't get a wink of sleep since she was so disturbed yesterday, but now it's day X and she's very calm about it. Maybe it's a sort of acceptance? Whatever happens, happens, right? Asya sits in the kitchen, waiting for the tea to brew. It's December 28th, just 3 days before New Year's. This reminds her that she didn't get any presents for her parents. However, they, on the other hand... She climbs up a stool to reach the highest shelf of the wardrobe. There's a present for her. It's a hiding place where her parents put birthday and New Year's gifts. Asya found out about it when looking for something a couple of years ago, but she never checked it again, until now. After some cute hesitation and inner moral conflicts, she brings the wrapped box into her room. After carefully opening it without damaging the wrapping paper, she discovers a whole 2 presents inside. The first one is a hardcover journal with fancy high-quality paper and an introduction page. Weirdly enough, one of the first pages has been torn out. My guess is her mother tried to write down something nice in there, but because of her rapidly declining higher functions, she failed and decided to scrap the page so that her daughter wouldn't be distressed by the unsettling scribbles inside. The second gift is a pair of soft, cream-colored mittens. Asya pats her face with them. Aww. Can someone draw that, please? I'd commission someone, but YouTube is not exactly generous with its ad revenue. She opens the journal and wants to write a poem or draw something, but there's barely any time. Still, there has to be something in there. It's a present from her late mother. It has to be used somehow. Asya decides to write as many sweet things about her mom as she can. About how pretty the journal and the mittens are. About how sorry she is that they rarely ever talked. There will be 3 pages of apologies, as well as 3 pages of thank yous. Then she'll write what she loves about her, the way she cooked, how she asked you about your day, how she looked in that flowery dress. But then nothing more comes to mind. These things should come naturally, right? But there's something wrong with her memories, like an impenetrable darkness in her mind. And her grammar is pretty bad. Has it always been this bad? It seems she's already begun to lose herself bit by bit. Or she's just tired from writing so much. It's time to go out anyway, so she finishes by writing, I love you, and signing. Signed, Asya. Signed, Asya. Her name is Asya. She then takes her mittens, gets dressed, takes one last look at the empty apartment, and says her last goodbyes. The streets are empty. It's early today, and it's a Sunday, and people don't get up that early on a Sunday. This is the explanation Asya goes with, even though she's aware of the real reason. Soon, the world will heal. The sky is painted with muted indigo. The street lamps contrast with the blue, creating a serene atmosphere amidst the frozen flakes and glistening snowdrifts. The holiday decorations line the streets. It reminds me of how I, when taking a walk back from school during winters, used to occasionally stop and admire the scenery that was sprawled before me, of a silent road and some street lamps illuminating the way. After finishing the game, I started doing this a lot more often, even though I no longer go to school. Asya runs out on the road to get a better view of her surroundings, but not before looking both ways. Not like they had many cars back then, they were usually outsiders coming in and out of the city. Wait, but wasn't this a closed city though? Why would there be outsiders? She apologizes to someone for her hazy memory. I wonder if she was addressing us, or the universe, or a different person. Asya. She's Asya. Her name is Asya. Now that she's in the middle of the road, she feels like running, imagining herself as a plane, with street lamps as her guiding lights on the landing strip. She will ascend beyond the stratosphere, spread her wings, rev up her engine, and take off! Wait, what? Whose voice was that? Isn't everyone gone already? So who just shouted like that? Well, Asya seems to have some idea who this person is. It's someone she knows very well. It's Toisa, Asya's childhood friend from the past. She is overjoyed to see her again, practically jumping into her arms. They laugh and giggle for some time before speaking. Toisa is now different from what Asya remembered of her, probably because they've grown up from the last time they've seen each other. That's bonkers, she answers. At least that part didn't change, along with her personality. Asya explains that she's heading towards the research institute to send a message to the world, and invites Toisa to tag along. She doesn't quite understand what this all means, it's a bit too cryptic for her, but she agrees to go anyway. After this heartfelt reunion, the girls are walking down the street, chatting away like they used to when they were children. Now that she's talking with her, Asya is glad that her memory didn't betray her this time. She remembered her right. Toisa asks what Asya's been doing while she was away. Asya answers that she met lots of nice people, like the guys at school. They were the first ones to approach her after Toisa left, cracking jokes and such. There was even someone called Vita that she sometimes talks with. He even bought her soda. What a gentleman. There's also Maria, to which Toisa laughs and wonder why Asya calls her by her full name. Masha would be a more appropriate diminutive, but Maria felt more natural for one reason or another. She often hangs out with Asya and even brought magazines that one time. I personally don't remember her ever doing that, but okay Asinka, you probably know her better than I do. They even went to a movie that one time, but the name escapes her and makes her try pretty hard to remember it. Her memories are slipping and decaying with time, maybe even faster than before. Despite that, there's still one thing she'll never forget. When being asked by Toisa whether she gets bullied or not, because she'd be the #1 target in her eyes, Asya mentions a friend who'd protect her if things went too far. Her name is Ira. She may be a little rough on the outside, but she's very cool and kind, and the best person ever, and is kind of similar to Toisa in a way. They do look alike now that I think about it. Funnily enough, Toisa is offended by this. Then she wants to say something, but is hesitant to do so. After a bit of convincing from her friend, she just says that Asya is a wuss. Pretty apt, but maybe could have worded it better. Toisa was concerned that her dear wuss would have a real rough time at school. But now, seeing Asya and how much more cheerful she is than before, she sees no reason to worry now that her friend has so many other friends. As if sensing jealousy in Tosa's words, Asya tells her that she was really sad when they got separated. There was this emptiness, this hole that Tosa left. And so, Asya decided to fill it with wonderful things. But it's kind of difficult to judge what is wonderful and what isn't. A wonderful thing can only be so when it is compared to something. It's something extraordinary, something above the baseline. But what's the baseline? How would one define it? For Asya, that baseline became herself. She is the world's measuring standard. So, after realizing this, everything became wonderful, because the average is so unreachably higher than herself that her labeling anything as unremarkable became laughably brazen. That's how she started to feel the emptiness inside her. Tosa sees through the delusions though. She asks whether she felt that emptiness. Asya responds that there's no need for that anymore, since her dear childhood friend is here now. Tosa wants to comment on this whole speech, but Asya already knows what she's gonna say and decides to interrupt her by running towards the research center. When in front of the building, Asya hesitates, thinking that she'll embarrass herself when she enters, an unfounded fear, because, well, we all know why. Tasya catches up, after which the girls find out that the entrance is unlocked and go inside. The Research Institute. Asya's been here before, even though it's been a very long time. Tasya flips the light switch, making Asya blind from the sudden light. This place is no longer recognizable to her. It's only been 3 years. And 3 years ago was when she had to part ways with Tasya. It's all so hazy for her. Tasya suggests they grab a flashlight from the janitor's booth. In the meantime, Asya searches for keys, even though she's certain all the doors in the building are unlocked. We are not sure why that's the case. Tasya finds the flashlight, along with a calendar that has photos with bikini models on it. She is positively elated at this discovery. The pair then approaches the stairs to the second floor. It's dark, so Tasya takes out the flashlight and turns it on. She's not too happy seeing the Institute, given that it is the reason they got separated at all. Asya's memories about that time are very much jumbled, so she has trouble understanding why Tasya is so hostile towards the place. As they go, Asya thinks she'd be pretty scared without Tasya. But she's made it so far, that means she's following a predetermined path. And still, she's reminded of how scared she was when watching an episode from a popular cartoon where a rabbit makes shadow puppets in a cargo hold. This refers to episode 7 of a very well-known Soviet show Ну погоди, also known as Well, Just You Wait. If I were to summarize it very roughly, it's basically the equivalent to Tom and Jerry. The premise includes two animals disrupting each other's lives in a series of slapstick cartoon violence, and that's where the similarities end. Despite the allegations of plagiarism, the two series are very different, but that's neither here nor there. Asya asks whether Tasya remembers the reason they got separated. Tasya says that the scientists that tore them apart from each other called her a distortion, an osmotic distortion specifically. It's some scientific mumbo-jumbo really. The important thing here is that Asya has the ability to will things into existence, or in other words, cause sizable distortions. Not necessarily at will, mind you, there's some kind of process behind that. It's pretty hard to wrap your head around when you first hear it, especially for Asya. Well, there was a person who tried to cause a distortion, but failed. She doesn't remember who it was, but we can make an educated guess, I think. What she does remember is an office with wires and friendly-sounding voices. Nothing more than that, though. It's like lighting a ballroom with a matchstick. Only feeling that's left beyond those memories is a deep, deep despair. Good thing Tasya is here now, and at this point, that's all that matters. The girls reach a room with a mural on a wall. It's a mural Asya recognizes, so there must be some importance behind it. Unfortunately, I could not find the original photograph or the mural's location, so it's something that will remain a mystery for now. The outside is already bright enough, so Tasya turns off the flashlight and sits in the armchair. Asya realizes why the Institute let her go, despite her having this ability of manifestation. It is something that every person possesses. They're just not aware of it. Distortions are born of the wishes and prayers of others. Some people are better at it and can cause them by accident. Some may need to band together to achieve any meaningful results. Still, everyone can do it. It just has to come from genuine belief. That's why the Institute is blasphemous. Its distortions come from obligation and higher-ups' command, not from an earnest wish. That's why the city is being corrected, while a distortion like Tasya doesn't cause any trouble. She would still exist, even if they both were unaware of the inner workings of the universe or of distortions in general. She just wouldn't be called a distortion. She'd be called a miracle. Maybe that's what the mural is about. Tasya reclines back into the armchair. On a side note, an interesting detail that I've noticed while looking through everything the game has to offer lies in the cover art of the game. It's Asya, holding a turned-off flashlight, leaned back in an armchair, looking into the distance. Weird. Shouldn't Tasya be sitting in that? Well, whatever, we don't have much time left anyway. The pair approaches the staircase leading to a rooftop exit. Asya puts her hand on the door handle. There is no need for keys. Everything is returning to its natural state, to its default. And what's the default state of a lock? It's being open. An icy tundra sprawls across and below the horizon, colored in hues of encroaching sunlight. The city rests below. What was its name again? It doesn't matter at this point. Everything below has fallen into silence, and above is the radio tower. The girls notice something weird about the snow. It's falling upwards. Split from the mounds, the snowflakes fly towards the heavens. How cute. Everyone's going home. The residents of a town that doesn't exist return back to the universe, to Absolute. Tosia asks if Asya is still afraid of heights, reminding her of that time on the Ferris wheel when she was 9. Asya does remember this. In fact, she remembers so much more than that. All the matches she's been given have been used up. The ballroom is so massive that it's impossible for her to illuminate it in full. But she can finally see around her. It's not a ballroom with marble floors and lavish decor, no. It's her body, painfully writhing on the floor from the glass cuts, crying for Tosia. It's a shattered window of a repair shop. It's her apologizing to everyone's parents. It's her standing in front of her disappointed father and embarrassed mother. It's all just so boring. Asya answers Tosia's earlier question about remembering anything from right after she went away. It's not even worth talking about, but Tosia already knew about that. Asya approaches the service ladder. She wasn't lying when she said that she isn't afraid of heights. The ladder is stable and the tower is not that high. She's got no right to hesitate. Asya begins her climb, with Tosia following suit. While the girls are on their final stretch, I want to insert one last character breakdown that I've been putting off for so long. But in order to do that, we have to answer the question, who is Tosia? Well, for starters, the Tosia that is before us is a distortion, a being created thanks to intense belief, or in this case, a person, an imaginary friend wished into reality. A similar concept would be of Tibetan emanations, an autonomous entity with its own will and personality, conjured by one's mind. Told you Buddhism was going to be important. Though the more common term for such a being would be a tulpa. We don't know the circumstances behind her initial manifestation, but the Tosia that we see now may be a different iteration of the same tulpa. Her design takes into it elements from every major character, Ira, Marina, even Vadim, and of course from Asya herself. That same unfashionable coat being a dead giveaway. It's no coincidence that she's similar to them. It's because Tosia either adopted a part of their personality when being reconstructed from Asya's memories of her friends, or her behavior was like that to begin with. In any case, Tosia seems to be almost a complete opposite of Asya's character and temperament. She's brash, even boyish at times, has a positive attitude, is confident, doesn't overthink much, is proactive, and is also protective of her friend, even when she's not around. I'd even go as far as to say that she embodies characteristics that Asya herself would have liked to possess. After all, Tosia is an intrinsic part of her. The cold metal and wet ice are getting through the mittens. The winds pick up as the cold is harder and harder to ignore. There is no going back. Tosia asks Asya if she's cold, if she's tired, if she wants to rest and come back down. No, she's fine. She's changed. Her eyes are fixed only on her target above. Looking to the side is a distraction. Looking down is punishable by firing squad. No, worse. She'll be sent far away if she looks down. No. She doesn't want that. She doesn't want to meet eyes with her. Tosia is an imaginary friend, one that a child would think up in their mind as a means of providing companionship, comfort, or to shield them from the outside. Whether that was a product of Asya's natural childhood development or a mechanism for coping with trauma, I cannot say. One thing I am certain about is that after their separation, Asya longed for Taisa's presence. What I think happened during the repair shop incident is that a band of boys locked Asya in as a prank. Asya had a panic attack and started experiencing a code sensitivity episode. She was in a very similar position to Ira in Jammed Signal C. It's just the window was an actual window this time, a way to escape. Asya couldn't see it though until a familiar voice rang through her head. It was Taisa, still with her, wished upon again but unconsciously, manifested through an intense desire to be saved. It's the voice in Asya's head that was telling her to avoid repeating the same mistakes, that was watching over her like a guardian angel. Asya then grounds herself, picking up a wrench and feeling its metallic texture and heavy weight, which stabilizes her senses. She then shatters the window, alerting everyone outside, who now find a crying girl covered in cuts, lying on the grimy floor, calling out to a person who isn't here anymore. Do you have a script prepared for your message? Asya says no, she doesn't need one. Well, maybe she should have brought a note, not like the message was ever meant to be verbose or anything. Knowing her, knowing more and more memories keep slipping out. When she tries to remember something, another thing disappears into the mist. It's very confusing, but she can't afford to get distracted. A note would be nice to have, but the words don't really matter. They're only vessels. This overwhelming emotion will surely reach its destination, no matter the message. This warm feeling is so ever-present in her body that any blank spaces soon get filled to the brim with it. It's really, really lovely. This all comes back to Asya, her self-loathing and how she views everything as above her. It's an extreme inferiority complex that she developed either in her childhood or after the incident, viewing everything as wonderful but not herself, constructing a version of herself that takes in parts of people she has come to appreciate, bringing herself to a point of extreme reverence and adoration towards the entirety of existence, because that's how large the gap was between her and anything in the world. The fact that she exists at all is already an act of infinite benevolence from above. So the only thing she can do is express her gratitude to everyone and everything in the universe. But isn't she a part of the universe as well?
Oof.
I cover my face. It's so windy up here. I hope my scarf doesn't get caught on anything. I crawl up to the platform and immediately slouch against the tall antenna. The ache that's been numbing my arms and legs for a good portion of the climb has suddenly become very apparent. Ow. Hey, past me, would it really be so hard to exercise once in a while?
Gwa, finally.
The girl crawls out behind me. At least she's high on energy. Her eyes are glued to the view in front. What's that expression? I can't blame her though. It's breathtaking.
Whoa, are you seeing this? Yeah, this is bonkers. Bonkers! You're not reacting at all. Come on. Everything's so tiny. Wow, I can see so far. It's really beautiful. I'm just a little tired. Phew. Give me a minute. Woohoo!
Her voice is drowned out by the howling wind. She laughs. The rising snow is viciously pelting her face, but she doesn't seem to care. She's running back and forth around the platform, giggling and screaming profanities as loud as she can. She's so happy. That makes me happy too. I stand up and swipe the snow off the back of my coat. The clumps detach and float into the sky. The sky. It feels so close. I reach my hand up and... yeah, no, I'm not tall enough. Of course, there's the antenna right beside me. That's the peak propping up the sky. So around 5 more meters until I'd be able to make contact. I don't think I can climb it though. There's nothing to grab onto. And frankly, I am too tired to try.
Hey, what's up? Come here. It's about time. Oh!
She skitters closer, still wearing a huge grin on her face. I fix the scarf around her neck.
It's cold. Cover up a little. You still worry about that? Don't pout. I don't want you to catch anything, that's all.
She lets out a sigh of resignation.
Are you my mom or something? It could be. You never know. No way! Why not? You look too young. Maybe I'm blessed with youthful looks. Uh-huh. Where's my dad then? Dead. I poisoned him. Scary! Hehe. It's rising. Ah!
Light. White, blinding light emerges from the endless mountain ridge. The jagged line of the horizon catches fire. It's burning high and wide in red, orange, and pink, in the most painful shades the human eyes can see. The flames are caught by the howling wind and start to spread across the melting fields of snow. Closer and closer, closer and closer, until I turn my head. The figure of the girl beside me is bathed in the violent morning rays. Her hair is the same color as the blazing hills. Her face is so familiar and warm, it makes my chest hurt.
You. Your name. What's your name? Ah?
She turns. I feel as if my body, my entire world, has reached a boiling point.
Your name? Who are you? Oh, sorry, I'm not sure. And you are? I see. That's okay. Okay. It's alright if you don't remember. It's probably not important. You really think so? Yes, because I feel like I've known you for a very long time. Me too. That's wonderful! Then there's nothing to worry about, right? I guess so. It's just that, What's wrong? I feel like I had something very important to do. A message? I think I was supposed to send a message. Message? Like a transmission? Probably, yeah. Since we're on top of a radio tower. Yeah, that makes sense. What's the transmission? I don't know, but I can sense it. There's this feeling I need to get through no matter what. Okay. That's good. And who are you sending the message to? It's for...
The endless tundra wraps around the globe. The western front looks cold and dark, but soon the fire will spread over the surface of the earth and fill the sky. The little town below is already engulfed. The metal tower is red from the heat, like a blade ready to be laid against an anvil. Little by little, everything burns up. In a few moments, the entire planet will combust. The sun keeps rising. The day is breaking on the Syrian peaks. The girl I know is smiling at me. This girl I know. This girl. How many times have I seen her face? How many times has she seen mine? I can't say. I really can't remember. But I know her better than any other person on planet Earth. And I think she knows me better than anyone too. I know her eyes have seen me at my worst, and I can only hope they've seen me at my best. Is my best enough to outweigh my worst? I wish I knew. But she's still here with me. Even after witnessing my lowest, most embarrassing, most disgusting moments, she's still given me such an earnest smile. The person closest to me. The person standing in the ring of fire. My best friend in the whole entire world.
Is something wrong? No, not at all. I have something to tell you. What? That's right. I have a transmission for you, so get your receivers ready. Me? Yep. Alright, transmission starting. In 3, 2... Wait, I mean... okay. I'm listening. I'm on the line. 1...
Two students from an unknown location are trying to decipher the mysterious transmission coming from somewhere in the Komi Republic. One of them is pretty frustrated with the slow progress that the other student is making. The resulting message, however, is a bit unexpected. It's funny how it makes one say something embarrassing to the other person. So, what is the point of Z.A.T.O? What exactly made me say a cringy video essay intro line, "This game changed my life"? What's the message the game is trying to convey? Well, it's very complicated. And it's simple at the same time. The game is about a lot of things. It's about the mundane and the extraordinary, compassion and prejudice, faith and sacrilege, the government and the people, loneliness and friendship, denial and acceptance, lies and truths, you, me, us. It's a lot. It's so much more than I can ever hope to fit in a limited runtime. And yet, the final message is the most important one. People often struggle to express their true feelings, to appear vulnerable, to risk being rejected. It's understandable, really. Many characters in this very game struggle to say how much they really appreciate the people in their lives. And yet, they all express their feelings in their own ways, like tiny little signals that are hard to detect, let alone decipher. This struggle to communicate leads to many unfortunate events. That's why I say this game is Denpa, but in a literal sense. It's a transmission. To you, to Asya, to everyone. A message of endless gratitude and love. It's something that should be heard by everyone in the world. And it should be said more often. Not only to others, but to yourself as well. If a person loves everything and everyone, then they should also be a part of everyone. So don't be afraid to love yourself too. You deserve it. That's what I believe now, and what I'll take away from this game. You can interpret the signal however you like. Every person is different in how they decipher the code of the universe and other people's messages. It's all a matter of perspective. But when it comes to me specifically, I can safely say that I'm ready now to love the world and everything in it. Hi, it's post-recorded Veno here. This is the part where the credits should roll with my patrons and stuff, but I don't have any, so I guess I'll just shout out the people that helped me to make this video. Huge thanks to Cinephon for providing a voice for Asya. I cannot even begin to say how thankful I am for his contributions to this project. You can check out his stuff on Twitch and YouTube if you're interested in tabletop stuff. Another very helpful person for this project was Lain Gaming, voicing Lev. He mainly streams on YouTube, variety games, and Limbus company, so go check him out as well. Now, there are two things that I didn't know where to include in the video itself, so I'm gonna mention them here. First, the game is very dense. I'm amazed how it manages to fit so many themes in its 5 to 6 hour runtime, and so because of that, I didn't really feel the need to discuss absolutely everything. For example, where Marina's parents are, or the identities of background classmates. It's all kind of miscellaneous theory, and I don't really feel like it was very important to the video, so this information had to be cut, unfortunately. You can play the game yourself, or join the Discord and Reddit communities. They were very helpful to me as well when I had to yap about my batshit theories, and when I wanted to make a meme or two. Second thing that I wanted to mention is this channel is primarily focused on Project Moon and Limbus Company content, so if you're subscribed in hopes of seeing something like this video, then don't get your hopes up. I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. This project was exhausting to make. I would really appreciate if you gave a like and shared this video so that more people know about this game. And subscribing, I guess, also helps in the algorithm, though I don't think it's worth it to pollute your subscription feed with my gacha swap. So yeah, thank you for watching again, and have a good day.